Yes, they can hear me. They can hear y'all. I timed that perfectly for when Zizvo was taking a sip of coffee or tea, hon.
Back to coffee.
Right. Well, guess what, everyone? We are live. I forgot one small thing I need to do real quick. Don't mind me. There we go.
There's a squirrel in my backyard.
We have so many.
Very important.
We have so many squirrels here, and they are all adorably chunky.
Oh, good. Good
And-
that they're
and
well
one-
fed and possibly pregnant.
One chunky scraggle rat, too.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the bonus roll. We are live. We are playing D&D today. We are short a gnome.
Halfling.
What'd I say?
Gnomeling?
Something else.
Wait, Vexy's not here?
Vexy's not here. You can tell because I'm not wearing my Vexy hard hat.
That is fair and fine. Which is apparently a new thing I say that I don't know where I picked it up. Hello, everyone. Are y'all doing okay today?
Short one Venurian.
Glad to hear it. So, hey, y'all had combat last session, and it went pretty well. No one almost died. With the exception of the person who almost died.
Well, yeah.
No one actually died.
Because
Happy about that.
because staying on the boat that a giant dragon is heading towards is clearly the best of plans.
Yeah.
And that
That's
wasn't even
harsh.
the two people that went unconscious.
Say Buttons also did an impression of a pogo stick. Up then down, then up then down.
So background music today. It's very faint. Wait, hold on. What happened to my background music?
I can hear the
Oh
background music.
no, I can hear it.
Okay. There we are. It just started a new loop. Don't mind me. That was perfectly timed. Background music that just started. Provided by Tabletop Audio. Tabletop Audio. Go to it and use it. Because it's good. And I'm not being blackmailed by them. Okay.
Also, if you have unmarked bills, please send them.
Please. We have so many sorting that we need to do. That said, I can't think of any way to delay this longer, so we will pick it back up. Last session, the ship that y'all had been waiting for came in finally. Born on an ill wind. Sorry, Ill Will is a movie, I think. Anyway, born upon an ill wind, y'all went on board to see what was going on, to see if you could render aid, and helped yourselves a little bit. There was definitely something going on with the collection of people that had been fused together and then melted into bubbly skin monsters. It was a thing. But hey, y'all got like 160 pounds of salt out of it from the local town because they're like, oh, hey, we could have died. Let's give these people what they've been asking for like a day and a half now.
So I would like to know Buttons is probably going to die.
Mike,
Grandmother finds out about this.
could you?
Buttons is probably going to die when her grandmother finds out about this.
I mean, it's not entirely her fault.
It's only
It
her
was her
fault
responsibility.
that she might be fleeing the scene.
Being the scene.
Not long
Fleeing
after
the
the
scene.
confrontation ended, the party was approached by a not quite lanky human with shaggy, blondish brown hair, a well-stylized mustache, and a aura of authority that just kind of oozed from him, I guess. Asked more questions than they answered, and then were informed to come by the marshal's station tomorrow to give a deposition on what happened. Bert collected some flowers and then violated a crime scene to leave some flowers with the aid of Kala. Invisibility really helped with that stealth roll because they had like a 19 on it. Let's see here now. Mira talked with Zeprina and told her that she would be providing a wagon and a horse and a letter sent by the Messengers Guild to the Glassbreaker Brewery at Fort C, or sorry, not at Fort C, at the Queen Sea to help with the salt that was not available that she needed to complete her mission. With that, everyone kind of dispersed to go to sleep, with the exception of Bert, who heard a voice from. It seemed familiar, though you could not place it exactly, though they certainly knew a name that you hadn't used in a while. And so, with that, as 3 of our members lay down for their long rest, Bert, what are you up to?
I'm going to sneak out and try to check in with this person.
All right, make a stealth roll for me, real quick.
Sure. 12. Second. 20.
20. All right. You are a shadow in the dark as you move through the empty house that you and Zeprina and Buttons have all gotten rooms in for at least the night. Not because y'all have a long way to go. Moving through the house, though, you see a figure in the kitchen that you were not quite aware was there. A not quite elderly, but older-looking gentleman. His hair starting to thin, black and combed backwards. He has a kind of almost hooked nose, with a very severe look to his face. He is in the kitchen, packing himself a few small, like sandwiches, a wineskin, some food, and stuff like that before he shoulders the bag and heads out the front door, locking it behind him. You recognize him as the gentleman that y'all that owns and resides in the upper floor here.
Was I given a key to this place?
Would anyone have given Bert a key?
I mean, we just like left money and a note on the table that somebody was going to be having the room, so I don't know that a key would have been available.
Yeah. There would definitely be a key left on the countertop, though.
Okay, I will.
And
take
the money
that.
would be gone.
Yeah, okay.
I shall acquire the key.
All right, you acquire a key.
Then I'm assuming. Okay, so I know where to go. Assume I did. How
You
to contact this?
hold on. Oh, okay, sorry. Had a slight little crash on my notepad. Opening it back up. All right, sorry. You have seen a few furtive figures that seem to be less than savory, hanging around and entering the Emerald Chalice.
Okay, I'm going to go out the front, lock it. Like, you know what I mean.
Yeah, key works.
Then go to the Emerald Chalice.
All right. It is getting late. Y'all had finished spending time at the Queen's Cloud after the fight. It was about 8 o'clock. Everyone was exhausted and went to bed, with the exception of you. So it's only been like maybe 20-30 minutes. So it's not quite hit the late night, everyone has gone home feel of the place as you approach the Emerald Chalice. The doorway has a kind of wooden brain shutting down. Rar. Sorry, the doorway has a sort of heavy wood to it, though you can't quite identify what type of wood it is. Painted on the front of it is a bright green cup. A large figure stands by the door. Not quite 100% human, but you can't tell if he's like a very pale half-orc or a very small half-ogre or what. But he looks down at you before he kind of...
Yeah, the pin is going to, like, kind of lift.
He kind of...
There.
and then kicks the wall to his side. There is a heavy echoing thump, and a portion of it kind of jostles loose.
Also, it was technically the red needle, not the pin. Sorry.
Yeah, I know
Still
what you
trying to
meant.
Get back. Yeah. Okay, I shall approach.
Right.
Go in.
The little opening that he revealed to you is cramped. As you slip into it, the wood behind you is slipped back into place, restoring the facade of the building as you find yourself in the walls between the outside and the inside. Very tight space, but fortunately you can kind of squeeze your way through. This is definitely too small of a space for anyone other than a Paquin or maybe one of the smaller races to work their way through. But following the edge of the wall, you come to a very narrow stairway down.
I will take the stairway down.
Right, kind of rounding the corner and following the stairs down, they go about 10 feet before one you notice moisture is starting to appear on the surfaces of the wall. It's kind of a thin, salty brine. But the stairway expands once you're about a story below the upper floor into a larger subterranean area. It looks like a root cellar of sorts. There's barrels stacked up in the corner. There's several jars on shelves. A humanoid figure, their skin a mottled greenish black, looks up at you from a table that they're sitting at, laying out cards.
Is this common?
No.
What is this?
Make a history check.
Okay. 22.
You've heard people speaking Draconic before. You don't know too much of it.
No, I do not. Darn it. I'm just gonna lift the red needle.
The figure kind of looks at you and kind of reaches up under its hood and pulls out its own red needle and then just puts it back. You hear a voice in the back of it. Boy, you're waving that thing around too much. And out in the open too. Get back here.
I get back there.
You kind of look around, taking in the fullness of the room. There is a ladder that leads up that you can only assume leads into the main part of the proprietorship. There is a second door that is half ajar at the back end of the room, though. Slipping through there, you see a number of small little chests that have been set aside, most of them empty, with lockpicks arranged in front of them. It looks like someone has been practicing something here. Sitting on the table is a slightly older looking Paquin. One of his ears are ragged. He has a heavy cloak over his shoulder, and now you recognize the voice that you have been hearing in your head as pulling notes. Taji of the Deep Pitch, the Blackford Paquin kind of licks his hand a little bit, and one of the lockpick lifts up. So, well, you ready to do some work, boy?
Not immediately, but well, how long will it take?
Got about 2 weeks run before the move. I figure you will want to be involved, so I had the girl give you a little heads up to come and visit your old uncle.
Okay, sorry. So out of character. What was the timeline on the ice moving?
Within a day and a half.
Okay. So the timing would probably work out. This is like internal am. Okay.
So I'm sure you were in one of the buildings when the Gold Tusk came by and screamed about the taxes being collected.
He kind of makes a noise at the sound of taxes.
Well, pays for the roads. But figured it'd be a good way to stick it to the marshals. If once the money that had been entrusted to them went missing, well, I mean, it's basically the town pays the marshal and then the marshal pays the taxes. So,
Yep.
if the marshal doesn't have the taxes from the town, marshal has to pay the taxes. Deal with what you gotta
I've
deal
seen
with.
the marshal. I don't think he'll miss any meals.
Deal with what you need to deal with, boy, and then get back here. We got work to be doing.
Understood, sir.
And don't forget to
How's
practice. Don't worry about my sister. Worry about your work.
He kind of rolls his eyes.
And keep practicing. He launches a lockpick from the tabletop at you.
Try to catch it.
Make a dexterity save.
That would be 33.
Yeah,
Or-
no problem.
23, sorry.
Okay. Also, still no problem. Higher than 10. Congratulations.
I like to think he throws it and I just make it hover in midair. And then just, kind of gently put it in my pack.
He seems to be done with you as he turns back to one of the chests. If you stand there and watch for a moment, he just picks it, the chest pops open. He snaps it shut, and then he immediately goes back to picking it again, and just repeats this, timing himself over and over on how quickly he can open it.
Okay, can I do an insight check?
Sure thing. What are you trying to interpret?
So my uncle, I've dealt with him. He's not the most, shall we say, family-oriented person. Sort of very opportunistic. So I'm trying to make sure
Yeah.
that basically he's not putting me into something. That's a 16.
You get the impression that if it was vital for him to have you involved in this, he would have found a more direct way of forcing you to be involved.
Okay. So he's probably not having me like as the stooge or something. All right. Good to keep in mind. I shall go back.
All right. Returning to the house is no problem, though. As you pass by the Victory Garden, which is just across the way, you see several lanterns and torches have been arrayed in front of it, but you're starting to feel tired. With a quick little jaunt across town, you return to where you will be sleeping for the evening. Buttons and everyone else seems to have already gone to bed. Super early, but not too much of a surprise considering how strenuous the fight was.
Shall lay
Pushing 9 o'clock at this point.
soft place by a fireplace. Ideally.
Okay.
Oh, and I locked the door back.
Oh,
I don't
good.
just
Good plan. If I could have everyone roll me a d20, please.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
17.
15,
Those are a wild roll.
4.
9.
9.
Sorry, it hovered on the 1, and then rolled a little and hovered on the 19, and then it
12.
landed on the 9.
Switching music. Buttons. Kind of laid down to go to sleep. You're tired. It's been a long day. If I could have you make me a wisdom saving throw, please.
Dear. Seven.
As you lay down to sleep, your body feels heavy, stiff. In your dream, you're laying in a cold, dark place. A herd of light filters in through some unknown locations. Body won't move. You are dead. Unmoving and laid in repose. At the back of the room, a figure in white is a veil draped across its face, limbed in silver and a soft, unnatural color that is somewhere between the deepest purple you've ever seen and a vibrant, violent red. Watches you, its head tilted to the side. Pain fills your chest, and slowly, with creaking and cracking, glass starts to spread out from under your shirt, across your skin, and across your body. Hear a single word whispered in your mind before you startle awake. Fragile heart. You awaken feeling sad, but peaceful. Who had the next lowest?
I probably had the lowest at 4.
Oh. I could have sworn you said you had 14. Oh well. Bert, your nighttime excursion has been exhausting, to say the least, when you combined it with your fight from earlier. Could you please make me a wisdom saving throw?
17.
17. As you sleep and dream, you become aware of a something moving around the edge of the bed. Open one eye, see it's a strange creature, white furred with a long face and black eyes that glitter like obsidian. Ragged nails course across the edge of the bed as it slowly circles, watching you with every step. Zeprina, I believe you were the next on the lowest.
I was a 17.
Oh, okay, you were the highest, and I got my order completely wrong then. No, I'm
I was
proud of
12.
Yep, I'm proud of myself as a DM. Kala.
It's okay. Order's an illusion.
Kala, as you lay down to sleep, your dream becomes familiar, if not a little strange. Could you make me a wisdom saving throw, please?
That's a nat 20 for 21.
There are holes in your body, across your arms, dotting your chest, small black seeds within each of them. They start to writhe and sprout, black tendrils with thorns sprouting from each of the seeds and coiling around your body. It becomes impossible to move, forced still and locked in place. There is a kind of familiarness to this, like a return to the garden, but instead of being immobile and serene and quiet and peaceful, this is painful, fearful. You awaken with a start and a cold sweat. Finally, Zaprina, as you lay in your bed, you dream, and in the dark of the room, a figure approaches you. Could you make a wisdom saving throw, please?
Is this a magical effect or spell related at all?
Yes.
Okay, then I have advantage on it. Oof. God, they're both terrible. A 10 was the best one.
10?
Yeah.
You find yourself not in the bed you went to sleep in, but childhood bed. Though much larger than it was when you were young. In fact, everything around you seems to have been warped slightly to maintain the same size relative to your body as when you were little. That figure in white stands at the edge of the bed and then crawls on top of it. Your eyes go wide and you try to move, but your body won't respond. It hovers over you, and you can see under the hood a pale woman's face, blue eyes, lips that are slightly blue, blonde hair that is wet. You can smell heavy brine around her this close as she leans in and hovers her face just above yours like she is going to give you a kiss before you startle awake and find yourself back in the bed you had slept in. Cold sweat drenching your body and a nervous energy filling your skin with electric tingles.
Sounds terrible.
It's just past 1 in the morning, you think, each of you, as you awaken from your dreams. There is a tension to your neck, to your body, like you were being watched, like you were forced through a hole that was too small and you scraped and left something of yourself behind. But you also feel rejuvenated and fully awakened. If you don't do anything too strenuous for the next few hours, you're fairly sure you'll be okay tomorrow.
Zephyrina, after that experience, and if she's kind of been woken up, she'd like to spend some time kind of in meditation and attuning with the wand of the War Mage that Kala gave her.
Okay, you can definitely do that. It will not take much time. You've kind of just been keeping it with you, and you're starting to get a feel for it.
She feels like she may need the extra help, so.
Since she's awake anyway, Kala gets out the chest of preservation and unlocks the bone carved box and goes and switches out the flowers and stuff for it.
Okay.
And then locks it all back up and puts it back in the chest.
As you open up, you notice the little scroll of paper with the wax seal on it that had the three-headed...
Buttons has it.
Oh, right. No, that didn't get put in. All right, statement retracted. Yeah, no, that is no problem at all to switch out, though you find yourself too awake to get back to sleep.
Well, it's too early to go anywhere, and they might be on the road for a few days. So Kala goes downstairs and makes herself some bakery day-old bread toast, and makes sure that as many of the kitchen ingredients are properly fairy blessed as she can before morning.
There is an entire barrel of apples and butter and other cooking supplies, and you just kind of hang out with them. You don't really know what to do for these specifics, because Breeze only ever had you like just kiss them or hold them or anything like that. So you kind of just go around from barrel to barrel and do that.
She'll sit there and hum with them while she's having toast.
It's decent toast. Zaprina, go ahead and finish that attunement, as you feel like a slight spark of connection form. Buttons? Bert, anything y'all are doing?
So, hang on, I'm still trying to parse what happened in Buttons' dream, so to speak. Hell, was it a dream? You don't normally make little saves for dreams. Yeah, Buttons is still just trying to shake it off. Let's put it that way.
Whenever it gets close to dawn, Kala has flowers to water and Constable Marshals to visit.
If there's no one else that's doing anything, then it's a long night of just kind of sitting there or puttering around buildings or rooms or whatever you do to try and pass the time. But you feel refreshed as the sun comes up in the morning, several hours later. But the day continues to be yours for the most part.
I did just think of something. It's every time Buttons wakes up, She's going to reflexively check her chest.
That white mark is still there in roughly the shape of a heart. Like someone took something that was super cold and pressed it to your skin, and the fur grew back scarred and white.
Does not take well to being branded.
Kala gathers some blue irises and heads over towards where I think she would know where the constable type area is by now, just from having been out walking a lot with being a peddler.
Yeah, no, it's not hard to find. The marshal's office.
Well, the constable's office.
Well, yes, but Constable Marshall.
Yes.
Let's see.
Zephyrina, being fairly charismatic, feels like she should be. She doesn't know Kala's going, obviously, but she also kind of felt like she should be the one to go and make sure she resolves whatever issue he needs resolved
Probably
for the group.
That would make a lot of sense, especially with hearing Bert say he wasn't go.
Yes.
Bert Buttons, y'all hear the door open and then close and lock behind her as Zephyrina leaves.
Oh yeah, I probably should mention Bert would have put the key back.
Yeah.
Um,
Buttons, there's a key on the counter. How polite.
That's.
I think Sabrina had her own key either way,
Yep.
though, because she checked in and went to the first room.
Yep.
Yeah, like this is her place first.
yeah, but I think Bert's plan was to sleep in, so I think he would have just, if it matters, he would have been like, somebody may need this before I do, so he would have put it back. Sorry.
You can't get back to sleep. You try. You end up laying there. It gets a little stressful. Like, at that point of like, I'm laying here. I want to go to sleep. I can't sleep.
Anyways, yeah, he's gonna continue puttering about.
Buttons?
Buttons. So yeah, she's going to. First things first. Make sure that every part of her is whole and organic.
Yeah. 100% flesh, with the exception of the fur.
She's just getting a little bit obsessive over it at this point. And then she's going to turn to upkeep and maintenance on her armor and tools.
That'll take a bit of time.
She tries to be quiet about it, but it's the kind of thing where it's kind of difficult to be quiet in some cases.
All right. Zephyrina, Kala, y'all arrive at Marshall's headquarters at the constable's office. Not at the exact same time, but within a few minutes of each other, because it's not a terribly far distance from the residential neighborhood. Let's see here. To the order around it. The streets are tidy. There's no dirt. A gentleman with breastplate armor and a sword just is kind of standing sentinel at the doorway as y'all meet up and approach.
Good morning. We're here to check in with the constable who requested we come by this morning.
Adding an affirmative buzzing.
They kind of look between y'all and then well, Alex just got in a few minutes ago. He's having breakfast, so if you don't mind, and he kind of opens the door for y'all into a single largest room. A number of desks are arrayed around the edge of it, while a long along the back wall, there is just a singular secondary wall of bars. Like the entire back half of the building is a holding cell. See, the person who had introduced himself as Alexander Marshall at one of the desks, he has like a small bit of bread that he is chewing on while he's reading over paperwork. A few of the other desks are occupied.
Alex and sit down in front of him and say, what type of questions do you have for us
He
about
looks
yesterday's event?
up from his papers. Oh, right, yes. Said y'all were going to come by, and I didn't have to send anyone to get you. That is a pleasant surprise and change of pace. Hello, good morning.
Kala's looking around for a flower vase.
There are no flower vases.
She looks slightly pouty. And then she goes and buzzes over and just kind of hovers by Zafrina.
He kind of like he watches Kala for a long moment just to see like what she is up to before turning back to the girl. So, what can you tell me about what happened? Mentioned a figure, a woman, I think you said?
Yeah, we didn't notice her at first. The ship showed up and we heard screaming. We wanted to render aid, so we boarded the ship. These abominations appeared before us. They looked like melted arms and limbs. After fighting a few, we noticed a woman, a veiled woman below deck who might have been controlling the creatures. We didn't interact with her, and then the dragon showed up.
Let's see. And y'all didn't exchange any words with this woman? She
I
didn't say
put some
anything?
thorns through her and she ran away. She said something about the sacrifice and she seemed really mean and she was watching us and she made the creatures. Well, they were other creatures first. They had a lot of arms and legs and they were not live moving around, like 6. And then we dispatched them and then she went wahaha and she melted them together into new things.
This
He
is true.
looks over at definitely. This is accurate.
This is accurate. It was nasty. Not natural.
I don't know if my thorns even got her though. She seemed not as substantial as she should be. Though I can't be sure I was further.
All right. And you've never seen or interacted with this woman before?
No, but if
No.
she wasn't that substantial for the thorns, she may not have been that substantial for the side of the ship. So I would keep an eye out and not assume that she was destroyed.
I appreciate the concern. I assure you we have this well in hand.
Just between you and me, Alex, I actually had a dream about this person last night. So I don't think it seemed maybe not like a normal dream, like somebody who is trying to mess with me. So I do think this threat is still an active one.
Well, unfortunately, I can't arrest your dream, my dear. However, if you are having trouble sleeping, I am sure that the apothecary can get you something to help with that, or if you're seriously worried about the nature of the dreams, if you can make it across the bay, someone in that god-awful tower will probably have something to either make it much worse or much better.
They mostly
I'm
have
not worried
questions.
about me. Yeah. I'm not really worried about me, more emphasizing the fact that I think the you should keep an eye out, but she's probably still around.
Well, I can tell you this, and he gestures to Kala. You have been seen around town before. You haven't caused any trouble. And from what I understand, you are mostly just hiding from the Institute, which do not blame me for that. He looks at
I'm
Zaprina.
not hiding. They got bored.
He kind of stops for a second as Kala interjects and then continues with Zaprina. You, however, are new to town, but I've talked to a few people and you seem to be relatively benign. Not sure what you're gathering so much salt for, but I don't think there's anything you could do with salt that actually endangers people. So, yeah, I thank you for your information. Please tell the others to come and see me when they have a moment. I would hate to have to send one of my deputies out to escort them here.
Do you
Question. Am I
really
s-
need to speak with them? We kind of are on an important mission to get the salt back to the druids where I'm from. It's a matter of life or death.
He kind of like rubs his eyes a little bit and is like, I appreciate that you have something you're trying to do, and I appreciate that what y'all did for the town. I would like to talk with them when they are available. If it is not immediately possible, then I will have someone look into having communication with them at a later point. He looks at Kala. You going to ask me something?
Am I a citizen?
I have what?
I don't know, but the tax collectors came and asked about citizens, and I don't know if I'm a citizen. Am I a citizen?
You have 5 silver?
Sure.
Then you're a citizen. Congratulations. Welcome to the queendom.
And she just buzzes.
It's like,
You don't keep many vases around.
no, this is a place of work. Kind of like stops.
She'll try to like tuck the flower in his pocket.
He watches. He does not. It's kind of like the "What are you doing? Why are you touching me?" kind of expression. But he does not feel immediately threatened, and so just tolerates it. That is everything we need. Thank you very much for your time. Please remind your friends to come and see me when they're able, just so I can have them confirm your story. Because if I can't have them confirm your story and no one else can confirm your story, then we may have to talk some more.
I mean, to be fair, there were witnesses to us on the
Yes,
boat.
no. There were other people on the docks, but
it
no
was a
one's...
very...
I'm just trying to be thorough. I appreciate it. I really do, but I just want to be thorough and make sure that, whatever happened here does not happen again, so that the people of this fine town will be safe.
She kind of shrugs like, okay. And then
I hope y'all have a
we'll
nice day.
head
Thank
out.
you for your time. The
You too.
guard at the door kind of like smiles at y'all a little bit, but steps off to the side as y'all come out.
So I think about this time, back at the ranch, Button's just gonna look up from maintaining her armor. Is this something we were supposed to do this morning?
Yeah, we're supposed to transport a bunch of ice to that city. I don't know. It seemed like the other ones had a plan.
Alright then. There's
I'm
something
assuming they're getting the
nagging
carts or something.
to get some
Yeah.
coffee.
Severina will be heading straight back to let them know they're expected there too.
Okay.
It is only like a 10-minute walk. It is not terribly far.
Yeah.
He is basically situated right between the residential area and the main streets where business is conducted.
It has been established Buttons does not function particularly well without coffee.
Kala's following along with Zephrina.
Yeah. Come on, bud. Let's go. Let the group know. So, we'll go back there.
Let's see. As y'all approach, the door is there. It is locked behind you. There's a painting on the wall of a horse with a snake wrapped around it. Kala, you now know where they have been staying.
Noted.
I'll let myself in.
No problem. It looks like someone had been in the kitchen taking some food out at one point during the night. There's like a few slices of bread. Pardon me. The few slices of bread left off to the side. Teapot that's waiting to be washed out, and other detritus of a shared house.
She doesn't see, like, Buttons and Bert are still wherever in their sleeping quarters, or right? There's no evidence they're out and about.
Would Buttons be doing her maintenance in the main room, or would she be doing it in the room that she crashed out in?
Probably in the main.
Then yeah, Button is like sitting right there.
It's just like
Okay.
In whatever she has on under her armor, which I assume is like a thin shirt and pants.
I mean, technically speaking, you're supposed to wear like a gambeson. Gambeson, is that the word?
Yes.
You wear a thick cotton thing under.
Yeah,
armor,
but you don't
otherwise
sleep in it.
Something awful. You do not sleep in it. So yeah, she's wearing pretty fine clothes. Actually, she's got like they're a little bit rumpled because she slept in them. But they are finely tailored. They're like there's actual silver fittings. It's like this is the kind of stuff that you would not normally think to sleep in.
So Zephrina will like walk into the kitchen, but kind of raise her voice towards Buttons and say, "Well, I have some good news and I have some bad news." And she'll start like trying to make tea or coffee or something. She'll make for like the group.
Does the good news include coffee?
You do find
That would be very good news.
You do find like a little jar of loose tea leaves that has a faint lemon scent to it.
She'll go ahead and start just kind of tinkering to try to create a little like tea and bread or cookies or something, whatever is kind of available in the kitchen.
I mean, it's easy enough to cobble together a pot of tea with some toast points and a butter spread.
Okay. So I can't remember if Crispin told me that we have free range of his food, so since she can't remember, she'll just leave like a silver piece behind for messing with it, stuff in his kitchen, basically, and walk out to the main room.
You smell
well, I went
tea, or lemon tea. Go ahead. You smell lemon tea coming from the kitchen after a few moments.
I'll set it down on the table.
Kala hasn't seen many art and statues outside of glass cases, so she's just kind of buzzing around the house.
There
is
a lot of these like little horse statues, and even a few like snakes tucked in the corners and stuff.
Yeah, and I'll just say to Kala, like, the gentleman here is a very serious one. Be very careful. Don't touch anything. Look with your eyes only.
Imaginary glass cabinet. Got it.
Yes. So I'll set the tray down, and so Kala and I went to the constable. He basically asked us to recap the events of yesterday on the ship. I was hoping that
the constable,
our presence there would keep you guys from having to go, but it sounds like the expectation is you still have to go.
Oh, the constable. That's what we were meant to do.
Yes, the constable. So that's the
see-
bad news. The good news is he doesn't appear to think we're a threat. He just needs everyone to basically have the same story.
Well, that's good, I suppose. I thank you so much. I'm terribly sorry that I overslept and then forgot.
There's a distressing lack of nature there.
It was very drab, wasn't it, Kala? Very boring.
I
No
suppose
fun was being had in there.
I mean, the glowy thing was cool.
glowing. What
That
glowing
did stand
thing?
out. It's like a silver or a gold shimmering, like, what'd you say it was? Not a staff.
It was
a,
spear.
Beer?
A spear. Yeah.
That's
like a-
interesting.
A glowing gold spear.
You know,
I'm sure when you go there to
to-
speak with him, you'll see it.
right. Sure, we do have places to go today. Would it delay us too much if Bert and I went for our departure?
I don't think so. I mean, he's just right around the corner. If it went as quickly as our conversation, it should be fine.
Oh, all right then. So Buttons has basically been sitting kind of like cross-legged on spread out cloth, with her armor just kind of disassembled and in pieces around her, like filing off burrs and such, and checking the hydraulics. And well, not really hydraulics, more just like the
Fluid
circulation
reservoir.
system for that orange magical fluid, and the carrot-shaped tank it goes in. So yeah, she's just going to. I would like to know, anybody anywhere near here has a fairly high risk of getting some grease on them, because yeah, so she'll just kind of gather everything up, reassemble her armor, and don it. And right,
Are you hiring people to break up the ice, Sabrina?
I mean, I think we're gonna have to enlist a couple of other people.
Well,
you know,
definitely we're
size
gonna
and
need
strength is-
transportation.
Well, we've got the wagon and horse from Mira, so we just need some bodies to help do a couple of loads back and forth.
Well, it seems like the that logistics guys, they would have carts and horses, so we wouldn't have to have as much back and forth.
That's true. At the harbor master area, they said that they had transports we could rent and things.
Do we want
We could look into that.
do we want another horse for the road? In case that one gets tired or it steps on something, or we need the scout?
yes, it's not a bad idea to have a spare. As far as mounts go, not that I've ever been particularly good with horses.
Oh, you're better than me. You're bipedal.
Yes. I just as soon rather leave them to somebody else. Dear. I suppose I can help handle them.
We could probably just see what the Teamsters have, too. They could probably put us in touch with someone.
Yeah.
I mean, remember, we are heroes of the city.
Also, I
I
have
mean-
some coins. I think people like those.
I suppose we are. I mean, I wasn't thinking of that.
I mean, I'm just saying, we could
Yeah.
probably call in a few favors.
Possibly.
Right.
Bert, are
Well,
you going to
Buttons-
actually go to the constable? Please.
If
you'll
I have to
come.
go, I'd rather go with somebody else so that I'm not the one doing all the talking.
Well, let's go
I
together
mean-
then.
You clearly need a bodyguard.
Maybe you're a squire. Like in the
He
stories.
kind of stops, just ponders that, looks at Buttons, and just kind of shrugs. I guess if Buttons is going to the constable, I'm gonna follow.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, but at the mention of a squire, Buttons is going to just kind of like give Bert a very considering look.
It only takes
I'm not shoveling staples.
It only takes about 5 minutes of walking to get back to the constable's office. It has not been terribly long, so the same guard is still stationed out there. He kind of just looks implacably at the group of y'all, but doesn't say anything as y'all approach this time.
Is that just them approaching though, and Zafrina and I going towards the wagon and docks, or
Up to y'all.
Zafrina,
I
where are you
see.
leading?
I feel like we should go ahead and go with them. We don't necessarily have to go in, but maybe we should stick together in case somebody needs some charming or something.
Well, let's say, well, without having the player here, we wouldn't really know that. How do we want to address the Vinzer should see him
Vinzer,
too
yeah.
thing? But would we just
Oh.
kind of hand wave? We go by for Vinzer, or
Don't worry
How
about
do
it.
you
I'll
wanna
deal
do
with
it?
Probably yeah, he'll probably come
I'll-
back later.
deal with Vincer myself
Okay.
as a dungeon master.
Okay. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, I would like to stay with Buttons and Bert at least till we get to the constable, but maybe hang out in the the outer part where the guard is and just kind of shoot the shit with them a little bit while they go in.
All right.
Yeah.
Buttons, Bert, as you enter, the room is exactly as I described it because it's been less than 30 minutes.
Right.
And I'll just kind of lean in through the door and be like, Alex, here's the rest of our group. and then
He
stay out.
looks up from his desk where he is writing and nods and then looks at the guard at the door. He nods at Alex and then closes the door after Buttons and Bert enter. Buttons, you see the spear that they were talking about. It's kind of a little bit longer than your average spear. It has a kind of wavering candlelight quality to its edge.
Okay. Might this resemble anything that I've seen or read about before?
Make an Arcana check.
Love to.
Would a deception check be to not look nervous?
If you're nervous, yes.
21.
Okay. 22.
Yep, you're fine.
Deception.
You're cool as a cat.
Cats are
Um,
cool.
Yes. The spear itself seems to be made out of some sort of alloy. You don't particularly recognize the compositional elements of it. It definitely is sharp. You're not quite sure what the source of the illumination from it is or what properties it may possess, though it is clearly a magical item of some sort and seems to be based around either light or force.
Interesting.
We had the lawn mowed recently and my allergies have been killing me.
Sorry.
It's fine. So that's why I keep on muting and having to rub at my nose because I don't want to sniffle on screen. Anyway, Marshall kind of gestures to the Alex Marshall gestures to the seat in front of him. So have a seat. Thank you. So, want to say real quick, appreciate what you did for us. Your friends were in here earlier. They mentioned a few things. I just want to corroborate
Corroborating.
those things with you. Now, I know the general gist of what happened, but they said that y'all had a conversation with the woman that y'all saw on the ship.
Uh, and this is player trying to remember what happened last week. I do believe she said something. I was a little distracted at the time.
Understandable. Combat
she
can
was-
be very intimidating.
Yes. Yes, it was. And Button's gonna look visibly uncomfortable and just kind of rub at a couple of places where she got hit.
Glad y'all are okay. So y'all know this individual then?
I can't say that I do. I mean, we couldn't see her face or anything. I certainly have never heard her voice before. She didn't seem to act like she knew us.
I see. He writes down some things, looks at Bert.
Yeah, question for clarification.
Mhm.
The figure that Button saw in her dream,
Yes.
was that, you said it was a white robed figure?
White robe figure with a matching veil with silver highlights.
Yeah. Same robe as the figure or new?
It was.
I don't.
You didn't get a great look at it in either
Yeah, I don't
case,
think
but
Buttons
it definitely seemed familiar, or at least similar.
I did. I mean, I had a nightmare about it, her, them. But I mean, that's to be expected. What?
Looks at Bert. Did you have a dream about her as well?
Unknown. More of a white creature, may be one of those metaphorical things. I don't know.
Right.
The only thing I have to add is to the description is this woman, or appearance of a woman at least, was unusually tall.
To you or in general?
In general.
Just checking.
There's a little bit of sass in that response. Yeah, I think you said taller than Sabrina. My colleague, you talked to her earlier. That's the only thing I think I could add to that description.
Right. Well, as he writes a little bit of information down, one last thing, something I forgot to ask them. What does your group call yourselves?
Group?
Yes, the group of y'all. Y'all seem to be traveling together?
I suppose we are. And Button just kind of looks a little bit like off-footed, but pleased by that idea. Like she just hadn't thought of it in those terms. I don't suppose we have a name as such. We all just kind of... Well, I guess we all just kind of came together. We'll get back to you on that, I suppose.
All right. Well, if you encounter this woman again, or if you have any further dreams of her, I would appreciate, coming forth and giving this information for public safety.
Gesundheit. Also, out of character. The Mystery Men. No.
I mean, out of character,
Ow.
we already decided on one.
Yes. But in character, we We hadn't. I didn't just want to have buttons just blurted out as the thing.
Y'all good? He kind of like writes down the information. Well, you'll have a nice night. Or day, I suppose. Wow, it has hit morning, hasn't it? I need to get some sleep. You'll excuse me. And he kind of nods to y'all.
Yeah. Bert's gonna kind of nod, bow.
He does not move from his seat.
Buttons
Moves off.
fairly stately bow and then out of there. We've got work to do.
Alright, Zaprina, Kala, what are y'all doing outside during this conversation as the guard closes the door and just kind of moves in front of it?
That's how you get giant
So-
spider webs out of your hair.
The guard just stares blankly at Kala.
Did you see that dragon yesterday? Crazy, right?
No response, just kind of a slight inclination of their head.
You have a long night there? You're not very talkative.
He kind of shrugs.
Are you not allowed to talk to us?
He rolls his eye after a moment and then just kind of moves off to the side so he's not standing in front of the doorway anymore.
But really, Zafrina, you should probably dampen your hair before you go through the woods. It makes it a lot easier.
To dampen my hair? Well, you're no fun.
He kind of just crosses his arms and leans back against the wall.
She'll kind of take out some of her adult beverage she keeps with her. She'll take a little nip and look at him like,
He does not care. He does
Okay.
not take. He does not partake, but he does not care. After about
All
maybe
right.
10 minutes, the door opens and Bert and Buttons emerge. The B team.
the BT. Yeah. Zephyrina will lean through the door and have a good one. Like, saying goodbye to Alex.
He is kind of like writing on his desk. He kind of like waves a hand but doesn't look up from his work.
Is there anything about the guard that was standing outside the door that seems like, I'm trying to figure out why he's so stoic and doesn't care when everybody else has been so like chatty or
Make an insight
Even-
check.
warm. Yeah. Or even like, oh, thank you for, Insight is gonna be a 12.
He's not been unfriendly, really. You get the impression that maybe while he hasn't been talking with you or anything like that, he's been purposefully keeping your attention on him and away from the door.
Just doing his job, probably. I got it. Well, all work and no play makes for a dull life. And then she'll start to just walk out.
He kind of shrugs and chuckles a little and then resumes his post once y'all are away from the doorway.
Well, it seemed to not take very long, so I assume we're all good.
I believe so. He did a couple questions, but nothing too troublesome. He did want to know, what do we call ourselves? I mean, as sort of collectively as a group.
Are we a team? Are we calling ourselves a team?
I didn't want to presume. opposed to that idea. I think it's kind of. I think it'd be rather lovely. Do seem to work fairly well together.
It does seem like we
Well,
established
I'm all about having friends.
certain things teams do. Like we held stuff and then divided it up, and we worked together on stuff. We're working together on stuff now, and we ate together and stuff. That's the kind of things teams do, right?
It's a good point, Kala.
Among other
Good
things,
call out.
yes.
So the Zephrita looks at Bert directly. How do you feel about that, Bert? And she kind of like tries to like ruffle his head a little bit.
You hear soft purring noises.
Yeah.
Oh.
Kind of rubs up against you.
Yeah.
There is safety in numbers.
All right. Well, does anybody have any ideas for a name? We'll think about it.
We'll think about it, yeah.
Onward to where we were going to, like the harbor.
And
Well,
maybe
we need
to
to get some
first get the wagon.
carts.
Right. I thought that Johan told us that he could procure transport type things if we needed it in the future. So that's
I think that
the
was
harbor master, I
guild.
guess, right?
Harbor Master Jahan, who works with the Porters and Logicians Guild, has offered in the past to arrange shipment of stuff. Yes.
Okay. So I think we need to pick up the horse and wagon that's been donated by Mira first, and the letter of introduction that she has for the brewery first, and then also then go to Johan and see if we can hire some additional folks and maybe another wagon and stuff.
I'm not very good at lifting heavy stuff like ice.
Yeah, that's why we'll hire other folks. Strength is not probably our team's strong point. No pun intended.
I mean, no, I mean, I'm nothing like a slouch, but I'm not particularly brawny, I suppose.
I think this
Yeah.
is one of those cases when, especially if people's lives are on the line, we need to just go to the experts that do this often.
That's also a solid point.
Do we
Um,
need to
so-
grab provisions, or did she say there were provisions? Do we need to split up and get some? Because it's a few days, at least.
Yeah, the ride will be, but we'll need to get the rest of the salt first. What did we say the amount of time was going to, or did we just say that it was going to be a certain amount of water that it would take?
I mean, I calculated it out how much y'all would need.
Yeah.
Y'all would need roughly 146 pounds of ice.
I could have sworn you
Okay,
said a
that's
lot
not
more than
bad.
that.
Hold on, let me pull it
No,
up.
yeah.
I may have
Yeah,
gotten
that's
my
what I was
number
gonna-
location swapped. Let's see here now. Sorry, no. Y'all will need. It looks so different on my screen as opposed to when I'm typing into my phone. Let's see here now. Y'all would need 143 gallons of water, which is
Yeah.
1,195 pounds of ice.
Quite a lot.
Quite a lot, but doable if we get enough people.
Right, and I think that you said, did you say what the weight limit of the wagon that we currently have with our horse that's being donated?
Y'all haven't gotten a chance to inspect it, but I would tell you that
Okay.
with your general knowledge of how the world works, like you know roughly how much you can put in a car and stuff like that, by looking at the car, that the average wagon can hold about 2,000 pounds, 2,500 if you're pushing
Okay.
it.
So we wouldn't need an extra wagon, but we may need extra bodies to help us
Yes,
Load the wagon.
harvest the ice.
and
throw
perhaps
it in the
more
wagon.
horses if it's if the harness can take it, I suppose.
Cause that would, if we get on the wagon, then that's all of us too, and all of our gear and all of our provisions, and like maybe a barrel of water or something. So
Yeah.
Well, but this is only from the bay to the brewery, so we
Yeah.
don't need to be provisioned for
okay,
for the initial back and forth. I mean, and I think we could all walk. We wouldn't have to be on the cart. What's the distance from the bay to the brewery?
It will take y'all
Like
walking.
walking.
If y'all were walking, it would take you. It's 42 miles. So it would be
So-
14 hours walking, but with a
Oh.
horse, it'll take about 7 hours.
Okay, so maybe we should get one more set up then and make sure we can get all of the ice plus any bodies that don't want to walk or can't that distance in a decent amount of time.
So I think that
Well-
that makes wonderful sense.
see what the first one looks like, cause we should get one that's a lot like it, so they don't pull different, right?
I mean, that's a possibility, but we definitely need to pick up the first setup anyway. So, I guess we should head to the Queen's Cloud to see about picking up our setup from Mira.
Sure thing. It's not terribly far to get to the Queen's Cloud from the Marshal's office, since the Marshal's is tried to be equidistant or relatively close to as many places as possible. Queen's Cloud Tavern is busier than normal this morning. It seems like something was happening last night, and a number of people either slept here or a number of people have stopped in for their morning breakfast that would not normally. You see, situated outside in front of the building, a rather decently sized cart with a large horse, like 6 feet tall, lashed to it with an intricately tooled and detailed harness. The horse looks like it is strong enough to easily pull that cart as well as another cart behind it if it wanted. Or at least it normally would if it wasn't for the fact that the cart has been loaded with several what looks like barrels that were used for storing ale at one point, but have been recently capped, so you're not sure what they contain. There's also a rather sizable block shape in the back of it that has been covered and wrapped in what appears to be canvas. Mira is outside, talking to the horse, stroking its cheeks and giving it and feeding it with its head dipped down towards her. So, oh, yeah, morning, you made it.
Good morning. Did you get any sleep last night, Mira?
Oh, I slept, but we took shifts.
Smart. You seemed very, very stressed last night, so I'm glad to hear that you got at least some sleep.
Once I woke up after the drink and I needed something to do to keep my mind off the hangover, so I got some work done. It's like, this is Lullaby, and she kind of pats the horse's snout.
Severina will go up and kind of stroke the horse also, and just what was I thinking? Like saying, Mira, thank you so much for letting us borrow Lullaby.
Oh no, she's yours.
To keep.
Yes, the cart too. I mean, We were going to replace them. Well, we were going to replace the cart, and Lullaby's already had a foal, and so we were going to put her out to pasture. But yeah, no, I mean she'll do y'all more good than she will do us walking around in the hills. So
Oh, that's most generous. Is there anything we should know about Lullaby? Her favorite snacks or foods or quirks that she may have?
she's pretty even-tempered. If you spook her and she kicks you, then you're going to be taking a nap. That's where her name comes from.
She's so big.
Like, what's in the? Is there anything in the barrels, or are those for the salt?
She comes, walks back. Is like, so normally what happens is when we send these back to the brewery empty, and they fill them and they send them back to us. And she kind of thumps her fist on the side of the barrel. They're not empty now though. So
Oh.
we had a couple of the boys roll them down into the water, just in case y'all lost some of the ice or the water on the trip there. I don't recommend drinking it though.
That's
Excellent, excellent. We got a head start with some salt water then
Mm-hmm.
to deliver.
Uh,
Excellent.
I did some math, and I think that should be close to enough ice. Talked to a couple of the boys down at the dock, and they were kind enough to pull it up for us. Yep. And she just kind of scuffs her foot for a second before pointing into the bed of it. It's like, there's about 5 days worth of food for Lullaby in there.
Oh, good. 5 rations for Lullaby. Okay. And how much did you say is in the barrels currently?
They're 10-gallon barrels each. And there's 3 of them, so that's 30 gallons of salt water on top of however much ice there is. Alina went to some thing that was going on at the Victory Garden last night, and afterwards she had a bunch of the boys come and help her hack the ice and pull it up.
Wow. That's amazing. Thank you so much.
All I did was
And she'll. Oh,
ahead.
she's gonna embrace Mira with a hug.
Mira smiles and hugs back, gives a slight squeeze. Make a strength save for me.
Sure. Where's my strength? Oh, there it is. A 7.
Mira is a strong little dwarf. She picks you up
Yeah.
and gives you like a hug before setting you back down.
That's cool. She laughs like it's good fun. So.
Here, Mary, you take these flowers so Lullaby doesn't eat them. They're not good for horses.
Mira takes the flowers and says, "Oh, thank you, dear. I'll put them in side in a second." She kind of holds them at the back.
Do we know what the weight limit in this, or can we confirm what the weight limit is in the cart that's attached to Lullaby?
So the recommended weight limit of the cart is 1,600 pounds. You currently have it loaded with 1,300 pounds between everything that has been loaded into it. So it can carry another 300 pounds. Lullaby can push, pull, drag upwards of almost 3,000 pounds.
yeesh.
Okay.
Lullaby is a strong horse.
Yeah. So we will need, though, another wagon attached to her, it sounds like.
I mean, y'all could put maybe another 300 pounds in the cart.
But we need a total of like 11, almost 1,200 pounds of ice that we have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll need another cart still.
I mean, I could let me look at my carrying capacities. I could carry another 50 pounds or so. A bit.
Eric kind of looks
Well, you
between
were
y'all.
saying yeah.
Well, I figured if y'all this didn't come up quite to the number y'all needed, y'all be able to get some from the clan. Oh, and she reaches into her bodice and pulls out a folded piece of paper and holds it out to Zaprina.
And she'll take that. Is this our letter of recommendation to the
Yep, it
brewery?
matches the one I had Sai send off this morning.
Great. Excellent. Well, I hope that we'll see you again after our mission is complete.
I'm looking forward to it, my dear. Oh, right. And she goes inside, sets the flowers down, and comes back out with 4 wrapped packs of food that has been kind of ensconced in waterproof leather or hide. You're not quite sure what the actual definition of the wrapping would be, but it's waterproof to the point that like it won't get salt water on it if something accidentally happens. Made some breakfast.
Oh, thank you. We haven't had anything other than some toast points this morning, and we've got a long day ahead of us.
Well, y'all stay safe. I saw your halfling friend heading out of town earlier today, so I'm for sure you'll catch up with him on the road sometime.
Good to know. Thanks for looking out. And then we'll vamonos to Johan.
What's that, Draconic?
With our...
Before we have our conversation, can we go ahead and have our break?
Yep, that sounds like a good idea. Let's go ahead and take that short break.
Hey.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I'm going to run a commercial or two. We'll be back in a few minutes after we stretch, get some fresh drink, eat something, basic human needs.
And you should too.
Oh, I'm going to
drink
stretch
water
a little bit. Drink more water. Make more tea. Conform. Consume. Obey.
All right, it says we'll be right back, and I am muting us now. They can hear you. They know you are there. Welcome back to the bonus roll. Hello, everyone. We are back from our break. I refilled my cup of mysterious brown liquid. I put more ice in it this time so it's less harsh. Let's see here now. Where we last left off, the party was hanging out with Mira at the Queen's Cloud, and y'all are formulating a plan on your next steps.
You need a cart.
Yeah, so the best place, if we just need another one extra cart, is the guild the best one to get that from, or could we potentially get that from the I'm forgetting the place that yes, yeah. Thank you. I was like something with the bear.
The
His general goods
store is really more general goods. Like they could put in a request for a big ticket item like that, but they may not necessarily have one immediately available.
Okay, then we'll just head straight to the. Unless anybody else has a better way, I think we just go straight to the Johan at the harbor, because he was in charge of the guild, right?
No, he's the dockmaster.
He's the harbor master, but he is also the harbor's liaison with the Porters and Logicians Guild.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll drive the horse for the group.
All right.
And then I'm sure somewhere on the bench, right? Somebody can.
Yeah, you could definitely put a person or two on the bench, no problem.
If somebody doesn't want to walk to the. I guess, Callie, you could technically fly, right? The distance to the dock.
All right. Making y'all's way down to the dock, the salty brine air kind of hits you in the face with that early morning breeze. You see that large city ship in the distance that seemed to be moving imperceptibly. Uh, is much closer to the bay than it was before, having made a good distance over the past day or so, though not quite yet come into port. The distance away that you can see it just gives you the impression that this thing is massive in size, a floating city of wood. Approaching the dock, you see Shahan talking to a number of porters as they bring stuff in off of the few ships that have arrived overnight. In the distance, you see at the where the storm cloud had been a number of figures that are kind of standing and looking over the edge with ropes thrown over the side and complicated leveraging machines starting to be constructed to try and dislodge the wreckage so that the harbor can use that portion of the pier again.
But
What's the overall like temperament of the people? Does it look like business as usual, or?
There's a little anxiety in people's posture. Their shoulders are a little stiffer than you would normally see. Um, they're getting their work done quickly, but not like at a rush.
Buttons, do you need to book? I you booked them, right? A warehouse and people to grab up and to unfish the crates as they unfreeze? 'Cause they should unfreeze within 2 days, and maybe we won't be here.
I thought they were all sunk though.
The ship has been sunk, but that's stuff that Buttons isn't really knowledgeable or taught or even sent here to deal with. She was just instructed to come here and inspect the ship. The ship has
Right.
been mostly being run by the captain and the crew with association of the Logicians Guild. And so you would assume that the people who who decided what needs to be picked up and brought here and what they're sending away would handle stuff like securing what cargo there was, moving the wreckage, and storing stuff.
Right. See, would not, it wouldn't hurt to talk with them, I suppose. Yes.
So the excuse me. I thought the ship came in unladen.
It it was definitely riding higher in the water than you would think it would be if it had been fully loaded. But they haven't managed to get any of it up yet, so they can't really tell you.
Yeah. I mean, that's a fair point. Just understand that it probably didn't have everything on the
Fair.
manifest because it was riding way too high.
I was checking if Buttons had anything she needed to take care of with them. Uh,
I-
Seems like not.
I suppose just maybe a quick chat before we leave town, just to understand where things stand.
As y'all approach Harbor Master Jahan, he kind of looks up from his conversation with the pair of porters, who move off down into the docks to get get to work on their assigned location. He pulls out a ledger. So y'all had a bit of a night. Are you okay? I didn't get a chance to talk with you about once the marshal arrived, or once the constable marshal arrived.
No lasting harm done, I think. At least not to myself. And she's looks to everybody else really quick.
I got hit by a bolt, but it just clipped my vine.
For the record, y'all do have your injuries. Like, they're just not life-threatening anymore. Hit points are not meat points. A cut is still a cut. It'll take time to heal, but you're not likely to die from it once, it's
Right.
been
But
tended to.
but you can't see the black eye that Buttons has under her fur.
Now, fortunately, Buttons is covered in fuzz, so she looks almost cuddly.
Yeah.
She has a black eye because Vincer punched her in the face.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Little puffy, but
we were a little rough around the edges, but we'll do.
well, I'm sorry. He looks at Buttons. Are you going to be taking over as your grandmother's point of contact, or should we
Ah,
continue our deal as we normally do with her?
what's the normal deal?
Well, I mean, normally we would take the goods off of here, pay the ship, and then send payment to the owner, and then we would sell the goods to merchants, who would then go and sell them to other places. We're kind of we're not as mercantile as Sonus's Reef, but we do, bring in fish and goods occasionally. Um, we were just going to remit to her a bill for the salvage.
Do you think is there going to be salvage? Are there things that you can, I suppose, perhaps bring up and recover?
We'll see what we can get out and send her a payment for that, and then send her a bill for anything that's not paid for by the sale.
Ah, I sup well, how long do
Hang
you expect
on.
that will take?
To
Um,
move it, I don't know.
Just
Maybe
no.
3 days. Depends on how quickly we can do construction. He looks over at Bert as Bert is like speaking up.
uh, actually, I think that would be 1-to-1 to Buttons.
Oh,
Like, hang
then
on, don't agree to anything yet. Okay, maybe this would be, I mean, obviously, Bert would be familiar with vessels. Would he know if that's kind of the standard terms?
salvage law says that anything that has been lost in the harbor is property of the harbor master. So
Uh,
technically, he doesn't have to like send any of the
Give you
money.
anything.
Yeah,
yeah.
but he is maintaining a business relationship, and so he is going to do what he can.
Yeah, and as far as the owner paying for the salvage operation, that's pretty standard, right?
Yeah, I mean, if your ship sinks in a harbor, you have to pay to have it removed.
Okay, I transmit to Buttons. That's pretty standard terms.
Uh, all right then. I should be. Well, I will be away from town for what did we think? 2 days, possibly 3.
I mean, I
It'll
got a
take at
map. I
least a
can tell you
day.
how long it'll take you to get wherever you want to go. He kind of pulls like a rolled up piece of paper out from under his little stall.
Speaking of things you may have, do you have any spare carts? Horse-drawn.
Um, spare as in do not need, or spare as in can rent?
Can rent? I look questionably
Yeah.
at.
Yes, I do believe that was the idea.
Don't think we would want to buy it unless we buy something to pull it, because then otherwise we'd have a thing we bought that we couldn't take anywhere.
That's true.
Unassailable logic.
Though I guess we have a horse now.
Oh dear, we're going to have to think about stabling her. Ah,
She's so big.
was this do
Lavender
tend
kind
to
of
be?
pokes her snout at the back of Kala's hair and goes like just lipping at her a little.
Lullaby?
What'd I
I
say?
was thinking lavender.
Oh, Lullaby does that, yes.
Um, um, um. And Kala tucks her vines under her hair and makes a bun.
Aw.
Jahan,
So yeah, we would be looking to rent. Is there a
Yes.
package deal if you have a horse and a cart,
uh, we
or
can
is it?
work something out with the logis. Uh, Normally we don't lend out guild goods to non-guild members, but y'all have kind of, done some good for the town and us. Um,
We would so appreciate it.
so where are you? He kind of pulls out the map. Where are you taking it to?
Ah, where were we taking it again?
To
First near the
I just
capital.
blanked up.
The Queen
No,
Sea?
it has to go to
Yes. That's it.
yes.
And then I think one more stop northeast, no, southeast of there, slightly another dayish. And she looks at Zafrina.
If you tell me the name of the place, I like, and he gestures to the map.
I'm trying to remember the name of the place.
Oh, Honeyshade.
Okay, yeah, I was like, it has something to do with honey. Yeah. We need to get to Honey Shade.
By way of Queen Sea? Well, it's gonna take. It's about, and he kind of gets out a length of string and starts measuring on his map. So it'll take you about a day to get there with her, and he gestures to Lullaby to get to the Queen Sea. Maybe a little less if you hurry her up, but I don't know if you want to do that if y'all are pulling a lot of heavy weight. From there, and he measures out. Walking, it would take y'all about 4 days, but with her to get to Honeyshade, it'll probably take you about maybe another day, day and a half if you get stopped at one of the crossover points.
Stopped? Why would we be stopped?
I mean, we're getting near tax season, we're getting near Oath Day, so a lot of people are traveling and not all, and sometimes, they need you to stop and not travel the road while they patrol it, clear it, or fix it.
I hadn't thought of that, but hopefully it wouldn't be too long of a stop.
Shouldn't be more than 4 hours at worst. That's what
Oh,
I would
so-
say anyway.
So in that case, barring catastrophe, we should be back here before the salvage is complete.
I would hope so.
So I do believe I can serve as my grandmother's contact person then, if we are
Alright.
back in time.
I will send notification that we will no longer be doing business with the one that we've been dealing with before then.
The one, sorry, who was the one that you've been dealing with before?
Let's see here now. He starts flipping through contracts. Her name was. Sorry, the name's been changed a few times, and it looks like we are currently dealing with a Nico Lopward.
Is it, sorry, Nico Lopward or Aniko Lopward?
A Nico Woplord. Lopward.
Is that a name that Buttons recognizes at all?
History roll.
Even when I have an intelligence-focused character, I don't trust these rolls. 18.
18. A Nico Lopward is a relative of Baron Brokenboff Amonosa Lopward of Geth.
Those are words.
Shoot. You're making me go into my character creation notes here.
Oh, wow. I wonder what that's
Wait.
like. Having
Wait,
to
you have
have
those up?
multiple notes and jumping between them.
God, I didn't have those notes open. Because it's not in a notepad thing, it's in a document. I have to open up frickin' Word for this. I hope you're proud of yourself.
Yes, I am. I could also just give you the answer if you need.
Okay, is that her father's
Yes.
family? That's what I thought. Is it? I know we wrote this down. Is her grandmother in this case? Like her grandmother in this case is on the mother's side, I thought.
Yes.
That could be fine. But her grandmother didn't tell her.
No.
Perhaps you should make that decision when we're back,
Yeah.
because it would be bad to take responsibility of something and then not be here.
Yeah, especially without um, getting the buy-in from your grandmother, because maybe that was your grandmother's will for that person.
You could send a letter before we leave.
Yes, that is probably the most straightforward path.
Yeah, because I
also-
think your relative would be pretty miffed if she started trying to give orders and then found out that the contact had been changed without.
But yes, I will send a quick. Buttons will take the time before we leave town to write up a missive to her grandmother, seeking clarification and naming Aniko Laport.
Well,
Yeah, okay.
probably need to tell her what happened too.
Yeah, she probably
I
wants
already
to know
did
what
that.
Yeah.
Buttons did that before she went to bed.
Well, you haven't mailed the letter yet.
Oh, you're right. So she can add this onto that
Yes.
as a postscript. Also, yeah, I understand why I'm having trouble finding it. I don't have a copy of my character workbook.
Why do you not have a copy of your character workbook?
I think you have my character workbook. Or
I
possibly
do.
I saved it into a different. Yeah,
Okay.
I might have saved it into a different folder or something, not in the proper one.
I will track it down and send it to you.
This is why I use Google Docs for that.
Google Docs are good for that.
And they open Word files a lot easier than
It's
Word.
also good for that. I like to have Google Docs and local copies of things when I can.
Ow. Sorry. Anyway, Jahan kind of like nods a little. Oh, that's fine by me. So are you going to need a mount to pull it? Are you going to need a hireling to drive it? Or are you just wanting the cart?
I think a mount to pull it is probably the way to go. Yes, I mean.
We'll need somebody
Sure.
Everybody
to.
for confirmation.
I thought we just needed to chain the cart to the.
If that's what you want to
Well,
do,
we could.
that's
What is Lullaby's pulling capacity?
2,700.
3,000.
Oh, she could. She could pull a cart train.
Easily, yes.
Yeah.
She is a big and muscly horse.
Yeah, basically
enough.
that big horse and that big whatever wagon cart. We want a cart after that one.
All right.
That we
Well,
rode from you
let's
guys.
see here now.
Kala goes up closer and buzzes, and she is just like, "No, I want a pony too. Can I buy a pony?"
You want to buy a pony? We don't normally sell our horses, but
Oh.
I suppose for y'all we can do that. He starts getting the tabulating stuff together.
Hold on, Kala. Owning your own pony is a lot of work.
It's a big responsibility.
Oh.
I don't think we
'Cause,
have.
like, for instance, you know all that food that horses eat? That comes out eventually. And you have to
You
deal
find
with
a
that.
patch. You find a patch of grass, and you grow grass for them, and then you go get water, and they get water, and then you just spread the dirt around, and you have a pretty garden.
Yes,
Technically,
unfortunately,
Kala, Lullaby is our pony.
Yeah.
Oh well, I guess if I guess it's okay then.
Yeah. And Lullaby likes you already. She's been nuzzling you.
I
She
think
is your
she's gonna
pony.
eat me.
Get around her mouth. Horses do not have very good eyesight straight on.
Jahan watches the group of y'all. It's like, so just the cart then?
Just the cart.
Just the cart.
Just the cart.
Babe, do you want to buy the cart or rent the cart? She looks at Zafrina.
I think we
Uh,
just need to rent it.
Yeah.
Is
Because we get to keep the one that's hooked to Lullaby. That's ours too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rental.
I will send a letter to the guild detailing out the rental agreement, but it is going to be, let's see, he's doing math, so y'all going to the Queen Sea, and then to Honeyshade, and then back to here, assuming you don't drop the card off with another guild master.
Has a chain or something to link them? If we're linking them?
I will throw in a chain. They're not terribly expensive, my dear. Let's see here now. So it will be a 10 gold deposit, refundable,
Okay.
and then it would be 4 gold, non-refundable.
all right? I can foot that bill.
Oh, okay. I mean, I don't mind paying for it. It's for my mission, so I
Yes,
would
but
hate to put you out anyway.
didn't you pay for the last thing though?
It's just money.
Van Ambergalden does not allow others to take on debts entirely on themselves, dear.
Okay.
That's good information to know.
All right.
And
How long will it take to procure the wagon?
I can have it ready within the hour.
Okay. How long would it take us to get to the brewery to drop off the ice to get it started?
It'll. Are you asking me or are you asking Jahan?
How do you spell Jahan
I'll
again?
ask Johan. So we have some of our cargo like ready to be delivered somewhere. Would we have time to get it to the Glassbaker Brewery and back?
We were going there. Our plan was to go to the big original brewery near the Capitol.
Yes, the Queen's
That's
Sea.
the one we have the letter for.
Okay.
The Glassbaker
That's the
Brewery.
one.
Okay.
That's the one that's a 14-hour walk or 1 day by horse.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
I
the
got you. So we
Glassbaker.
need the cart first.
The Glassbaker Brewery is in the Dwarven district of the Queen's Sea. He is flipping through a few notebooks as he's talking to you. You should be able to find it by coming up along the Queen's Road towards the Queen's Sea and then veering to the north and following the edge of the mountain to the Dwarven district at the north-facing base of the mountain.
I don't suppose you guys sell maps, do you?
Not us, but the Mapmakers
The
Guild
general
would.
store.
The general store may have one or two.
I want to get such a thing.
Generally, you can just get directions from each of the waypoints or the guards on the Queen's Road. But anyway, and he shows you the map and traces out the route for y'all if y'all want to go ahead and copy it down.
Yeah, I definitely would.
Showing basically y'all going in something of a little bit of a figure C, but backwards. Because y'all have to actually go around the mountain range, and so the path leads.
Yeah.
So anyway, you follow this east, take this south, then you're going to turn back west, head towards the Queen's Sea mountain, and then when you get to the foot of the mountain, he shows you the path on the map where it travels north around the northern face of the mountainside. You should find the Dwarven district right around here. The total trip should take you about 7 hours, with judging by the horse y'all have. Maybe a little longer, maybe a little shorter, depending on if you take your time or if you push her. But you shouldn't have to spend the night at one of the roadhouses, at least. Especially if y'all leave before noon.
Kala's gotta go get some parchment since she doesn't have anything to actually write and take notes. So while we're on that hour, she's going to go spend a gold for 10 pieces of parchment if they're about normal price.
The hour that y'all are waiting is mostly occupied with Jahan talking to porters that move stuff in and out, and a few engineers who are coming to try and figure out how to dislodge the ship without damaging the pier. Call it, you procure the paper with no incident. The general store clerk looks up at you as you enter, smiles, waves. When you tell him what you want, he goes in the back, gives it to you, and only charges you 90% of the total.
Okay.
So you got a little bit of a discount there. The preparing of the wagon is mostly when the wagon pulls up, or the cart pulls up, instead of going down the pier to get loaded, Jahan yells something at the person, waves it over, and points to y'all's wagon and explains to hook it to that.
Yeah, and if
Or
they could move the
cart.
barrels to the cart,
Jahan,
kinda,
not really.
like we just want to make sure the load is stable.
Okay. 1 second. And he gets he tosses a silver coin to one of the porters that are coming up and points at the carriage and is like, even that out for me, will you? And the guy catches the coin. All right, sure, boss. And he goes and you see this. It's human. He does not look super buff. He kind of puts an arm around the barrel, puts his hand at the top point, and tips it over the edge towards him. Catches it on his shoulder with puts his arm fully around the barrel to kind of balance it on top of his shoulder, and walks his way over to the other cart and deposits the barrel. And he does this 2 or 3 times, distributing the barrel, the ice, and the feed between everything, so that the both carts. I'm saying every vehicle except for cart have the same weight on them. Kali, you return after well before this and make your copy of the map. All right. Well, is there anything else we can do for you? Jahan asks as he fills out a few pieces of paper and presents them to be signed.
Not that I can think of. Does anybody else need anything before we?
I'll read over the paper, make sure everything's in order.
It basically says that they are lending you the cart to go from here to the Queen's Sea to Honeyshade to back to here. That you are paying a deposit of 10 gold and a fee of 4 gold. The fee of 4 gold will not be returned, but the deposit of 10 gold will be returned, contingent upon any damage to the cart that may have suffered during the trip.
Seems reasonable.
Sign up on it then.
Alrighty. As you sign it, could you please make a charisma save?
Sure. Mm, 18.
18. You sign it, and there's a little. Hold on, let me make my roll. Sorry. Right. You sign it, and there's a little spark of magic and a faint blue glow to the edge of the signature you make. Jahan nods and smiles, rolling it back up. You are aware of the binding nature of the agreement that you made.
Reasonable. Okay.
Right.
We're on the hook for the goal on the cart.
Oh no, Well, the cart's hooked up. He holds out his hand for the gold.
And
I already subtracted it from my inventory.
All right, he will take the gold coins. He separates the 10 gold and puts into one bag, and the 4 gold he puts into another. All right, well, if y'all stopping by the Scribes Guild, say hi to Scythe for me.
Yeah,
will
I'd
do.
like to-
Thank you so much.
He kind of turns back to getting his morning work done.
Okay.
Y'all
Off
are
to adventure.
pushing maybe 9 at this point.
9 in the morning.
Yeah, y'all got up super
We
early.
did make an early start.
Yeah. It's better that way. we gotta go. Does anybody else need any more basic provisions before we set out?
I should be all right. I have everything I need.
Do we want like an extra water skin?
I mean, I have one, but so I'm good. But everybody else might.
Probably gotta stop pretty frequently for water for the horse anyway.
Fair
Mhm.
enough. Okay. On we go.
So, are y'all going to the Scribes and Messengers Guild? Are y'all heading out of town? What y'all doing?
Oh, we need
Uh,
to drop off the letters, right?
Yes.
All right.
I
Definitely
suppose
need
we
to
can
head
make
there
time for
first.
that.
The Scribes and Messengers Guild is just across the way from the Queen's Cloud, so you can see that Mira and Alina are kind of getting slammed in the morning, it looks like, now that people are awake and actually like getting food before they get into the heavy duty of their day. But you bypass the majority of the crowd. The small rookery building across the street has an opening at the upper portion of it for birds to fly in and out of. In fact, as y'all approach, you'll see a raven kind of flutter through into the upper area. The door is unlocked. It is a narrow building. It's only about maybe 7 feet wide, but it seems to run a uh, deeper into the area than the buildings around it. So it's longer than it is wide.
Zephyrina's gonna stay outside with the horse and cart to kind of make sure nobody tries to molest it at all.
You've seen a couple people like looking at y'all, but they seem more interested in y'all than the cart. There's definitely some word going on throughout the town of what happened last night. All right, what y'all doing?
Anna's waiting outside. She doesn't have an email to send. I think she would have already left a note this morning since she knew she was leaving with Bree.
Makes sense.
So Buttons has her letter written up, and she has to go send it.
Well, the door is unlocked as you enter it. The narrow room has a heavy ink set to it. Wet stone is the closest approximation to it that you can think of. The forward part of the office is very cramped, very small. There's a writing desk off to the side with a capped ink pot and a quill and like a small stack of papers. A divider at the midpoint of the room separates the front from the back, where a kinku with a kind of ornate filigree etched into their beak, leaning on a staff, looks up from their reading, clacks their beak at you. You can hear the sound of birds from deeper behind them. Yes, can I help you?
Yes, I do have a letter to send. Quite
Very well, ma'am.
urgently, if
Come on up.
possible.
And they make like a gesture to approach.
So Buttons will approach.
They hold out their hand for the letter, slightly sharpened talons gleaming with like dried ink.
This needs to be sent to. And I am blanking on grandmother character's name because my brain is not good today.
It's early morning. I do believe it is Leebane.
That sounds right.
See here.
Uh,
I'll see
I note, and I don't know.
character NPCs. There we are. Pinona. Peona? I'm not sure how to pronounce that.
Oh, Peonia.
Peonia, Fleabane, von Amber Golden. Gallon? Golden. Words.
Amber Galden.
Amber Golden.
I'm
Hey, I
sorry
had
I
it
came
right the
up with
first time.
difficult words. I was trying to come up with just overwrought sounding things.
You did so. Congratulations.
I'd say this needs to be sent to the. Would Dowager be appropriate? Not sure if Dowager is the appropriate. The yeah the Dowager Peonia Fleabane von Ambergalden, in the Ambergalden province, of course.
It's the far north 1 second, and he kind of like starts flipping through a couple of papers, or they start flipping through several papers. Right, is this everything that you want to send?
I believe so. Yes. And I there may be a reply forthcoming. I pick it up here. Would you hold it here for it to be?
It
I
can either come here or it can come to the tavern or the bar,
right.
whichever you prefer.
If you receive any letters for any missives for, and she's gonna like look back and forth,
No
and just
one
kind of
is
like
in the
lean
room
over
with
the
you.
counter, and well, no, she's like making sure nobody's listening to closely. She's going to actually quietly say her real name to the clerk, uh, and then to that title. Please hold it for me.
All right, very well. That'll be 1 gold.
All right, she will pay the 1 gold. Yeah,
Okay,
buttons
did
is
you reimburse yourself the full? Or no, sorry. Never mind. Carry on.
I spent 4 non-refundable. I put a $10 gold deposit down, and I've spent another 1 gold. Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Ow.
It'll be sent off in the next little bit if you want to watch. I don't know why you would, but you're free to if you want. And they kind of take the letter, put a wax seal on it of the Messengers Guild, and then attach it to go into back to attach it to a carrier bird.
Thank you. So, just in for reference, what might I have your name?
I am Sai.
Pleasure to meet you, Sai. She'll sketch a slight bow.
It's nice to meet you too. And they kind of like
She'll-
get back to work as y'all continue to intrude upon people's work days.
and then she
It's
will
what we
head
do
out.
best.
Heading out is a matter of walking about 10 feet out of the incredibly small room. You get the idea that it's actually that small, intentional to make it hard to overhear people who may be giving private correspondence or communication.
As makes sense. Apologies for the
Onward?
moaning and groaning.
Onward?
Sorry, what did I couldn't actually hear
Onward.
what you said.
I believe
Onward,
they are
yeah.
saying onward or
Onward.
asking.
Onward indeed,
Yeah.
yes.
To adventure. Ho!
To adventure.
All right. As y'all mount up, distribute yourselves across the wagon, the carts. God, across the carts. Get comfortable and direct lullaby. Y'all trundle out of the town that y'all feel like y'all been in for months now.
It's been a bit.
Um, as y'all walk out, or as y'all ride out, y'all pass a couple of the locations that y'all been to frequently. Y'all go by the Shrine Park, the small hilltop collection of various shrines to spirits and gods that are commonly worshipped. You catch the faint scent of incense on the air and hear the general murmur of visitors praying to their preferred deities. Just a little past that, heading up onto the road out onto the Queen's Road, you go by the Wild Rose Park and the Queen's Fountain, the silver statue of Her Blessed Soul Ranake the First, standing in the center of the collection of briar roses that has a endlessly pouring stream of fresh water from her upturned shield. A few kids run around and play in here. It seems like it's been a while, but since you visited here, but it's only been a few days since you came through and talked to a child or two here, Zaprina.
Hey, Button.
Yep.
That park, the Wild Rose one, um that's where I met Ren and we got the job offer that led to meeting y'all. So I don't know, maybe we could do something with that in the name. I like flowers.
There is. Oh, my family does have a bit of a tradition with flowers as well. I quite like that. What you said it was a rose garden?
It's the Wild Rose Park.
I don't know if we're quite that wild. But,
Speak for yourself.
Zaprina, you would notice being the one holding the um, reins that there are actually intricately tooled flowers worked into the leather of Lullaby's bit, bridle, and rein sets.
Callow, you might be onto something. It's a common pattern, it seems, and she'll kind of like point it out. The wild roses, is that where we're leaning for a name?
perhaps.
And she'll also, Zephyrin, as we pass, if she sees the kids again, she'll reach into her bag and like take out more candy and kind of like throw it like it's a parade. Like,
There
here you
is
go, to the
a
kids.
scream of children as they immediately swarm towards the flying candy.
Yeah.
Like you are
Wave.
pigeons almost.
Yeah. Can't remember how many pieces I had exactly wrote it. Oh, there it is. So yeah, she'll just go ahead and distribute what she had left. So there were like 19 pieces of candy basically.
You had a
that
ton
she...
of candy. You just like handful like and the
Yes.
kids
Yeah.
are just running all over. You see them picking the candy up out of the dirt and putting it in their mouths in a few cases.
Oh,
Yeah, you're a lot more traditional of a companion than Ren. Ren through boomerangs, children.
Friends throw a what? Boomerang? Is that what you said?
Yes.
There is a
You have odd friends.
I did have a thought. Perhaps not wild roses. Well, there's a particular type of rose that I thought I think might uh be appropriate, and she's just like, um, it grows in the wild, and it's quite pretty, and it also has well, it tends to grow together, you see. So you don't just have one flower by itself, you have many flower plants growing as one. Um, have you heard of the briar rose? Might also be know it as eglantine.
Can't say that I do.
Make a
Nope.
nature check.
I will say add a character, just in case we want to go with the original one. I'm going to pen what we had put.
Okay.
Wait, I thought we were.
My nature roll it was for me
Anyone who wanted to.
or just for anybody? Oh, okay.
22.
I got a 20. Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was. Wasn't it Briar Roses? What was what we agreed on
The
out of character?
Briar Garden was the campaign name.
Right.
So that's why we're tagged Briar Garden
Right.
on
The full thing
Twitch,
is
and then
Briar Garden, the Fellowship of Wild Roses.
Oh, dang it!
Fellowship of the Wild
Confused me because
Rose.
Or
you
yes,
wrote Briar Roses in the tweet.
yes.
I figured if we were trying to lead to that organically, like you were talking about earlier, getting us to Wild Rose was the closest I could get on it. Someone else would have had to take it
Yeah.
the rest of the way.
Okay.
But
Out,
if we want to go with that still, but we can change it.
yeah, out of character, I'm fine with either. I just thought we had like.
Yes.
I thought I was confused by the tweet. That's where I laid the.
That's fair. I
Yeah,
did
not on
not
my
fully
brain.
I prefer
explain.
wild roses. We don't need everybody to have to do a nature check to figure out who the hell we are.
Who am I? Where am I?
As y'all follow the road out of Port Glassbreaker, there's a little bit of a kind of a jackknife bend in it, where you go up one direction to go uphill, and then a tight turn to go back up the other. As y'all are rounding that last turn, you see off a little ways in the distance a rather large-looking black dog just kind of standing in the field watching y'all before y'all end up on the Queen's Road heading east.
Do you think that was him?
Who?
Oh, maybe it was a silly question.
Well, I don't think I saw. What did you see, Kala?
The large black dog, like Red turned into when he went to go live with his family.
I don't
Then he
quite
turned
Look,
into a
know
spider
if that
wolf.
was.
we lost a previous coworker because he found his family and ran into the woods.
Sure.
It's close enough. That's not false.
Well,
The lullaby doesn't seem to be nervous by the large black dog?
Lullaby is just pleasantly plodding along in the direction you point her, and she does not seem to be noticing anything about what's going on around her other than just one foot in front of the other.
Single-minded. Okay. Just keep on
Quiet.
going.
Yeah,
And peaceful.
I think he got upset by what the ghost was saying and wanted to go spend his time with his family.
A ghost. You had dealings with a ghost?
Of a sort, yes. It was in the
Yeah.
Feywild. It was
yeah, so it's sort of.
quite an unpleasant experience all around.
I mean, it was interesting. It was different for sure.
I mean, the Fey world is a curious place. I like it.
It has its good points and it has its bad points.
I will
Both
very
places
happily
are pretty
leave it to you.
confusing.
Agreed.
Well, very
It's
happily
a-
leave it to the rest of you then. I would prefer to avoid that entire place myself as long as possible.
Well, it's not our destination, so.
At least not for now.
Oh god.
Yeah.
No more Feywild for a bit,
Doesn't-
please.
yeah.
I'll be okay if we do. It's like playing up how much Buttons hates it.
The road stretches out in front of y'all. It's relatively flat once you get up onto the main road. There is a slight curve to it to encourage water runoff, but you notice that where there is scrubs or trees, they have been cut back well away from the well-worn road, and it is easily wide enough for two wagons to travel side by side, so your carts have no problem traveling along it. The dirt of it is hard packed, like someone came through and pressed down on it to compress it over and over again over the years. You see in the distance a little trail of smoke rising up from distant points, from roadhouses and small villages, from farmlands, and then in the far distance at the edge of your vision, you can see the tallest of trees of the Scaris folk, where you'll be heading to. But your gaze is drawn to the south, to the monumental mountain that is known as the Queen's Sea, and the fort city that was built upon it generations ago by the Silver Warrior whose statue y'all drove by just not terribly long ago as you left the Port Glassbreaker. It is a quiet morning, and if I could have each of you make a perception check for me.
Right.
15.
19.
Oh,
8.
12.
The majority of y'all see in the distance, not terribly threatening or close to y'all, a small herd of some plains beasts. It looks a little bit like a deer, but slightly larger. Their horns swept back, racing across this open field that fills the space between the coastline and the mountain that y'all are heading towards. But it is relatively peaceful at this first leg of the journey. Over the course of hours, y'all pass by a few other carts, wagons, and carriages heading towards Port Glassbreaker or to one of the side roads that split off heading north or south along the courseway. You pass a small little hut with a guard stationed out front and a small encampment of tents that have been erected around a well that has been dug into the ground and reinforced with stonework. You can stop and water the lavender or lullaby. Someone said lavender, and now it's stuck in my head. You stop to water lullaby. You take a short meal. The guards ask you if the road is okay. You see a pair walking towards y'all in the same uniform as the guard that is at the station. One of them has a rifle slung over on a strap slung over their shoulder, and the other seems to be carrying a sword and shield. The walking patrol nods to y'all as they approach and head into the guardhouse. As y'all spend about hitting close to 1 in the afternoon at this point, if there's anything y'all wish to accomplish, cover, or touch upon.
So Zephyrina, while the horse is being watered, she'll kind of approach the guards and ask if there's been like let them know where we're traveling to and kind of inquire if there's been any like talk of anything that we should keep an eye out on that could be dangerous for the horse or our
The guard that
cargo.
you find outside is has a sort of dusky color to her skin. Her hair is cut short to keep it from being easily grabbed in a fight. She carries a axe on either hip, and is wearing just simple leather. So, no, it's been pretty quiet from what the reports are today. If you're heading down to the sea, then there's a bit of a parade, but that's not too much of a surprise. Oath Day is coming up, and so all the nobles are making their way there now so they can get places to rest and, live up before they have to make their pledge.
You said that was to the south?
Yep.
Like
you-
south of us?
yes.
Already? Okay.
Well, they kind of point off to the mountain in range in the distance you see to the south. And having traveled, you no longer see just the backside of the mountain, but you see about the side of it where you can see this natural stone has been worked down into a flat plateau, and then a battlement has been constructed out of the stone itself, stone of the mountain itself. A small village has sprung up ringing around the base of the mountain over the generations, but the fort at the top, not quite at the top, but at the midpoint of the mountain itself, has a light dusting of snow and is a imposing and almost watchful energy to it as it looks out towards the east.
Okay. Well, there's, other than trying to assess if there might be any kind of contentious spots known, Zephyrinna would just want to keep pushing along.
The guard smiles, shakes her head. No, nice and quiet. That's what we're here for, my lady.
Thank you so much. That makes me feel good about our next leg.
Glad to hear it. Just stay safe, and you are going to want to take the southern cutover, and she points off in the distance where the broadly flat plain allows you to see a good ways. You can see the road kind of curving a little bit, just faintly due to the distance. But after another 4 hours, after another 2 hours on the road, you come by an actual lodging place for the evening that many travelers can stop at if you want. It has a definite inn or tavern-like feel to it, though there is no city around it. There are a pair of stables, and as you drive by, there is a carpenter out next to these stables working on repairing a wagon that looks like one of the wheels had come loose on. There are a handful of people just kind of eating, drinking, and talking, but unless you want to stop at the Road Tavern, you're free to continue on.
We got
How many?
we got food with us and stuff. So
Yeah, how on, or does
Yeah, I
anybody
just kinda
need?
wanna get there at this point.
Could you say that one more time?
Just kind of want to get there.
That's fine.
It was supposed to be was it 7 or 14 total to get to this first? stop?
7. It would take
Okay,
in
so
4.
at this point,
Go ahead.
At this point, it's
I'd say we're the majority of the way then.
Yeah.
To...
You can see the road where it bends off to the south and then hooks around towards the Queen's Sea from here. The inn itself acting as a sort of natural crossroads.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Zephyrina, while she hates to pass up the potential to have a drink and a lively conversation or something, feels very obligated to not drag her feet and wants to get this salt to
No
where it needs to
worries.
go.
Yeah, especially since we're transporting ice.
Exactly.
I mean, we're transporting ice to melt it, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like on the way back, it's not as, but right now it's sort of.
Thinking of
Yeah.
that, y'all check
Yeah.
on it, and there is definitely some moisture within the tarp. But fortunately, it was expected that this would happen, and the canvas that it has been wrapped in was treated with a sealant of some sort. You're not sure if it was wax or tallow or what, but it seems to be keeping most of the liquid inside. There's a slight seepage, but not enough that you're worried about losing anything of
Okay.
note, especially with that buffer of 30 gallons.
Yeah. So yeah,
Oh,
Zephyrina's vote is definitely to press on since we can, and the lullaby seems to be
Lullaby
her
is
usual
doing
self.
fine. She is been pulling for a while, but y'all have also been stopping often enough for her to not
Yeah.
suffer any levels of exhaustion or pushing her hard enough to make it a serious problem. And so
Okay.
y'all pass by the roadside tavern, turn to the south, and follow the arcing curve of the road towards the front of the mountain that you can see now. The banners of the queendom flying high above the battlements, halfway up, snow-caked mountaintop with towers that glisten white with the frozen water. You notice that the air coming off of it has a familiar feel to it as to what you experienced last night when that dragon came by. A cold that just not freezes you, but is cooling. Not
Yeah.
chilling, but refreshing. That crisp, clean winter scent approach
Yeah.
along the Queen's Road towards the south. As you are warned, there is a bit of a procession that starts up as y'all get about an hour out from Queen Sea and the village at the foot of the mountain. Numbers of travelers, either on foot or in carriages or carts or wagons, are heading towards the mountaintop. You see periodically someone in clothes not quite like buttons, but similar in their coloration or in the quality of them, traveling either in groups or in individual carriages in some cases, or surrounded by a number of retainers. A few of them move off to the side of the road to go around slower moving groups if they seem to be in a rush, but many of them seem to be proceeding towards the small collection of buildings at the foot of the mountain. To the north, you see a very rough trail that cuts into the edge of the slope and goes up towards the north face of the mountain, that you feel is probably what was being pointed out to you when you were told to go to the Dwarven District.
Okay.
Uh,
So, like Zephyrina would have been like head nodding and waving and saying good evening as we passed all of the people. Just
Most of the travelers are friendly enough. A few of them wave or match y'all's pace for a little bit of time just to like share some information from the road, like what they've seen, where they're going, where you're going, what you've seen, stuff like that. Though since y'all are traveling in the same direction, there's not a lot of communication to be shared.
sure.
But you come into the town at the foot of the mountain. You see the palace gates that lead up towards the mountaintop castle and the side road that leads around to the Dwarven district. You follow that path and through a number of little small enclaves of people living their lives. You're getting closer to the evening now at this point. 3, 4 o'clock maybe by the angle of the sun. You see the moon starting to just barely become visible off in the distance, and the slight haze of color that will fill the night sky is starting to kind of creep up at the edges of the horizon. Anything you want? Oh, go ahead.
I need like 3 or 4 minutes and I'll be right back. I need to warm up my coffee, that early morning meeting. I'll be right back.
No worries.
Okay.
I got tea here.
Is there anything y'all wish to do at the village at the foot before y'all continue on to the Dwarven district?
I mean,
Not for Zephrina.
All right.
She's got a single-minded mindset right now. So as long as everybody's looking good and the horse lullaby's doing okay, like she's on her
perhaps I
mission.
can do a little bit of sightseeing or something on the way back. Something.
Oh, I'm always down for, being social and having a drink and doing all those things when I don't have an important task at hand.
Yeah, I mean, we're coming back this way to return the card at least, so.
Yeah.
I mean, on the return way.
Too much of our saltwater, so.
Oh yes.
Exactly.
So y'all follow the curve of the mountainside, and the road does cut up into the slope slightly. Following it for about a half hour around the edge, you come to a small little plateau that has been worked into the natural stone, that faces a not overly large, but definitely large enough for a couple carts to pass through. Stone door. It's a phrase, and there are a pair of guards standing out front wearing heavy metal armor with pikes. Their helmets rendered into the face of a stoic dwarven expression. They watch as you approach, though make no move to intercede on your behalf or interfere with you as y'all enter into the entryway, past the carved stone door and into the mountain itself. You hear in the distance the ringing of hammers, and you suddenly feel flushed and warm. The heat of this place, ambient temperature of the fires and smelters that are probably going 24 hours a day in the deeper levels, processing what ore and stone and gems can be found. The long tunnel opens into a large, massive antechamber. Statues hundreds of feet tall ring the inside of this space, with windows cut into the upper portion of the room to allow natural light in. Though that light is fading, and so torches have begun to be lit. As y'all enter the room, one of the central statues holding what looks to be a massive bowl made of pure gold, whoosh, as a fire springs to life in it. The flames alight with multiple colors, resembling the veil of night or the veil of heaven that you see in the night sky, a reminder of what beauty the outside world has, reflected in this monumental form inside this hidden space.
Yeah, so heat's not very conducive to ice. I would want to move through as quickly as possible.
You are not sure where to go from here.
Okay. So if we're the map doesn't point anything.
The map pointed y'all
at this point.
to the dwarven enclave, the dwarven quarter, whatever
Okay.
you want to call it. There are a number of guards throughout here. They have not interceded, bothered you, and many of the dwarves here, they seem to notice you, just go about their business, not wanting to interfere with whatever you are about. You do see
Okay.
sprinkled among the dwarves a handful of gnomes that are either working on projects or painting something, or just sitting and chattering far more gregariously than you see the dwarves doing.
Makes sense. I'll go ahead then and kind of stop the cart and get down and go up to one of the gnomes and inquire, or let them know our business and inquire where the brewery is.
Alrighty. Let's see here now. No. Just doing a quick check on some things.
Sure.
Because I need to see
Mira's daughter had a clan symbol too.
Yep. Mira had a
Look
clan
for.
symbol, and Alina had a clan symbol. Alina's was on her face. Mira's, I believe y'all saw it on her shoulder at one point. The gnome you approach looks up from his work. He's maybe 40 for a gnome, which puts him at young. He
Young.
seems to be working on it's a complicated looking contraption, an amalgamation of sheets of metal with springs attached to it, and that seem to be intended to retract or push the sheet. You're not quite sure what his end goal is, as he just is constructing. Yes, how may I help you today? Do you need a tour guide? Do you need work?
We're looking for the brewery. Would you happen to know where that is?
Which brewery? We have many here. Are you a fan? Are you a fan of Dobbins, or are you looking for maybe some sand brew?
Are those types of?
You get the impression that they are brand names.
Brand names. Oh.
You've got a letter. Is it addressed?
Yeah. Well. I'll look, and she'll take it out to see if it has any indication of a specific person or company or.
The letter essentially reads, "The bearer of this letter is a friend to Clan Glassbreaker. Under the heat of a mission, please render what aid you can to them," and it is signed by Mira.
Oh yeah, Glassbreaker Brewery, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. So I'll just tell him that that's the name of the place that we're seeking specifically.
The Glassbreaker Brewery. That's in the deeper levels. It'll take you a couple minutes if you don't want to pay for the lift, but and he kind of pushes the contraption that he was working on off to the side, stands up, and leads you past one of the statues. He points up at the one holding the night flame. So, that is the clan master, and then he points to between each of the statues, and you see a honeycombed collection of tunnels leading off in different directions after this one. Each ward has their own. Each clan has their own ward, and then he kind of leads you over to the leftmost statue, 100-foot tall, with a clan symbol tattooed on or not tattooed, but etched into the stone face, similar to the one you saw on Alina's face. though instead of black ink, it looks like it's constructed of molten gold and studded with gems. This is Clan Glassbreaker's board. If you follow me, and they kind of like lead you through one of the tunnels, a good ways away, maybe 20 minutes or so, they take you to what looks like a wooden platform, circular, that has been fitted into the stonework. So here's the lift, and he gestures to a dour-looking dwarf with a black beard that has been braided in a complicated series of knots. He can operate the lift, but he'll charge you. If you don't want to pay the price for the lift, then I can. And he kind of turns and points you down a side passage, so you can follow the slope.
Does the lift look like it can accommodate like our whole?
It is 200 feet across, made of heavy-looking wood with bands of iron strapped across it and chains leading from it up to a central point at the ceiling.
So
Okay.
we'll find out.
So yeah, I'll thank the gnome for pointing us in the right direction, and then take the letter to the dwarf that's hanging out at the lift and show it to him, and see if he still wants to charge us to use the lift.
He kind of looks at.
After reading.
Can I help you?
Yes, we are needing to get our cargo here to the Glassbreaker Brewery. Mira and Alina have recommended we come here, and I'll hand them the letter.
He takes the letter and kind of looks it over and says, "Well, I recognize the names, but I can't read the rest of it. Sorry, not really my forte, but yeah, the girl said you need help." Then kind of shrugs a little bit and walks over to a series of pulleys that have been set into one of the back portions of it. Stoops down and toggles a switch before kicking one of the levers, like physically kicking it with his foot. It makes a clank and a grinding of metal sound. The whole platform drops about 3 inches and shudders violently as you hear the grinding of metal for a couple seconds before it slowly starts to lower down. Ugh. They're probably going to have to fix that at some point. So, where are you going?
We need to get to the Glassbreaker Brewery.
Well, you're in the Glassbreaker Ward, so you're in the right place. And as the lift lowers, you see it passes over several platforms. You're probably a good 100 feet below the base of the mountain at this point. Before he grabs the lever and pulls it to a stop, there is a grinding of metal once more, and the lift kind of comes to a stop, maybe a inch and a half below where the actual floor off is. So you kind of have to wait a second as he fiddles with things and nudges y'all up a quarter of an inch at a time until the platform is level enough for y'all to get the thing off, get the carts off without risking much damage. It's gone from warm to hot here. It's a stark difference from the brisk, cool outside. And you smell faintly. It's not quite burning coal, but it's that some metal somewhere is very hot and has just been left out. Smell.
Okay. Is it? Can you point us in the direction of the brewery from here?
Sure thing. And he kind of walks on over to where y'all are points down one of the passageways. So what you do is you follow this tunnel. That'll take you to the clan heart. From the clan heart, then you're just going to need to follow the left hand path until you get to it's kind of like a little culvert. The brewery is built into there. There's a beard.
Nice.
Onward.
All right. Yeah. If
Probably
it's
somewhat
getting
quickly.
more and more warm, let's keep moving.
All right.
Faster the better.
You walk for about maybe another 10 minutes until you enter in what he was referring to as the clan heart. A large circular cavern in the center of the room with row upon row of benching seats and stuff like that built up around a central amphitheater in the center. A pedestal stands on the middle of it, and a number of dwarves are talking to each other at the central pedestal. There's a collection or two that are sitting on the benches conversing as well. Becomes obvious as you see suspended from the air a smoldering anvil like structure that seems to be dripping a molten glass from within it to just kind of land in channels that then feed through this floor. Following the directions, you take a turn left and you see that follow the channel that the culvert that he was talking about, channeling not water but liquid hot glass that flows on down into the deeper heart of the mountain. Passing over it, you come to a little, for the size of this place anyway, low hung archway, dwarven runes etched across the top of it. You smell the rich, meaty scent of fermenting beer coming from within here.
Success.
So, go ahead, Bert.
I just said success.
Oh, success. Okay. Yeah. I'll say that Zephyrina's she salivates just a little bit because it's been a while since she's had a drink. It smells delicious. Get down from the cart and approach the area, the opening, the low-hanging opening, to see if she runs into anybody.
You kind of have to duck a bit to get under it, and Lullaby has definitely been feeling more and more cramped as y'all get deeper into this place. You see just past the archway, a pair of alcoves that are not immediately noticeable. From outside, there are two dwarves standing at attention within them in the same armor that you had seen before, with the stoic dwarven face worked onto the helmet, carrying not halberds, but heavy iron clubs. They do not look to stop you, but their heads do turn to track your movement as you go deeper in. That scent becomes stronger. You see just past the edge of the tunnel a step down and then another leading into a shallow basin-like workplace. A number of stills have been installed around the outer edge with a large central boiler in the center. Stacks of empty and unused barrels are just kind of haphazardly scattered about, and a medium-aged looking dwarf with red hair that is not quite violent, but just very stark in the dim lighting of this place. Looks up at y'all from where he is working the valves of the boiler. Just a moment, please.
No worries.
After about maybe
And
4 minutes, he comes towards y'all, wiping his hands off on his shirt and extends a short fingered grip towards y'all. His beard is cut short to just a bit below his shoulder level, and has a number of little bottles braided into it.
Hmm.
How can I help you? Welcome to Glassbreaker Brewery.
good evening. We're on this very important mission to save somebody's life. And Mira and Alina in Glassbreaker Braid suggested you could help us, and she'll pull out the letter and hand it to him.
You're the pretty lady who Mira sent the message about. He kind of reaches out to take the letter, looks it over, shrugs, and just tucks it into his little traveling pack, or his little purse pack, I guess. Well, come on in. Careful with the steps if you're bringing that horse in here. I don't recommend it, but you wouldn't be
Yeah,
the
no.
first person to drive a horse into here.
Is there a more appropriate place that we could stable Lullaby while we bring some of the?
I mean, y'all aren't going to be staying long, I didn't think. From the letter, she said y'all had to leave pretty as soon as this was finished. We drained the, and he gestures to the boiler in the center of the room. We drained the boiler this morning. We've been giving it a clean over, just to make sure there's no
Oh, great.
contamination in it.
Nice.
It is much
Excellent.
appreciated.
Yeah, no,
Thanks
we
for-
don't need to stay long. I didn't want Lullaby to be in the way of
Yeah,
anything
perhaps
that
we can
you may need the
simply-
space for, and I don't want her to be too cramped or scared.
I mean, she should be fine up there. We'll, give her
Okay.
some. Does she like I don't know, flour? I don't know
Oh,
horses.
We've got
Sorry.
rations.
Okay.
I was gonna do-
Thank
That's
God.
okay.
We have a nose bag for Lullaby.
Okay, think everything. Anyway,
Yeah.
no, we're happy to help out. Anything the
Right.
the princess and her daughter want. So, let's get your stuff unloaded as he goes over to one of the little sub rooms and calls into his. Hey, get up, move it. We got some work to do.
Thank you so much for helping us. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, like I said, anything for her. As 5 dwarves just kind of not rush out. You've noticed that dwarves do not run, but they kind of amble their way over and kind of start climbing over the carts, tipping stuff out, the barrels, and kind of sliding and using the canvas and hauling it down. A couple of them come out with hammers and shovels, and once the canvas is in place, start hammering the ice into chunks and then shoveling it into the boiler as the fire underneath it starts to ring the edge of the metal, and that hot scent gets even stronger. Y'all are all starting to sweat at this point. Anyone within the brewery, please make a Constitution saving throw.
Is this affected by the fact that some of us are wearing metal armor?
Yes, if you're wearing heavy armor, please make that roll with disadvantage.
Sabrina,
That's
it's
it.
just like in a fairy tale. You're getting saved by a princess.
Yeah,
15.
it sounds like it. I knew she was
Aha.
special.
Scale mail is medium armor. I can't afford heavy armor yet.
I like how you're proud of
Zephyrina
that.
wears no armor, so yeah. Zephyrina wears no armor, and she rolled a 22.
All right, if you rolled less than a 10, you take a point of exhaustion.
Oh, goodness I did not fail.
You notice that the dwarves are, for the most part, all of them topless. Once the heat starts cranking up, most of them are not sweating, though.
It's impossible to tell through the fur whether Buttons is blushing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you watch as they shovel the liquid in, or the ice in, before they crack open the barrels and start dumping that water in as well. It's like, well, normally when we're boiling stuff off, anyway, it's a complicated process making booze. Um, we're going to have to change things up a bit, but this should be done sometime 2-3 hours if you want to go and entertain yourselves or find something to drink. Or I mean, you don't have to stay here, but you can if you want, as he kind of shrugs a little.
No, like Zephyrina at this point is like fanning her jacket and stuff. It's warm in here. I think we'll be in here. Does anybody have any objections to that?
I'm definitely okay with staying and such, but I can look another time, I'm sure.
Uh, he kind of shrugs a little bit. Well, there's the clan house that's not too far from here. There's the smithies, the mining shafts. If you're just looking for a place to sit down and relax, then I would recommend just going to the clan heart.
Clan.
Lionheart.
I assume there's a
That's
lot
back where
of.
the.
Oh, I was just saying, I assume there's a lot of dwarfish conversation snippets here and there, right?
Yeah, everyone is talking in Dwarvish with the exception of the one that is talking to y'all, yes.
With anthropologist as a background, Kala's going to have her language notebook out and be making snippet notes and watching gestures.
All right. Dwarvish is it's not quite harsh, but it is a little on the guttural side. The words tend to be either very short or multiphonic, where it's actually several words that have been pressed together into a single word.
It's just German.
Yeah.
The key to speaking
yeah.
Dwarvish is to start with a mouthful of grapple.
Yeah. I don't have any dwarf language abilities, so the clan was the area where the gnome was, right?
No, that was the Hall of Clans. The clan heart is the one
Okay,
where y'all
so
came through with the very auditorium
Yeah.
feel.
That's right. That's right.
So let's go there.
Fluent at all? As I certainly am not.
Nope.
No,
I
but in my
think
experience,
when they go like this, their gesturing go up, and this is poor, and that with the shout is poor, but that's all I got so far.
Good job, Kyle.
It's more than
find
we've
that
got.
alcohol is a universal language, so I'm sure we can.
You're going to
Right.
drink alcohol in the seat?
The you don't quite know his title. The dwarf that you have been interacting with laughs a little bit. Like, well, I mean, Clanheart's definitely a good place for drinking. Don't know how much experience y'all have other than the lady, but couple words of advice. One, don't get in a drinking contest with the dwarf. Two,
Minded.
do not bother a dwarf that is drinking by himself.
Sounds reasonable.
And three, most of the people here will have at least a little bit of understanding of the common tongue, but don't expect to hear too much of it. Unless you head up towards the Hall of Clans or onto the surface levels.
I don't suppose this isn't the sort of place where a lot of Elvish is spoken, I would assume.
No, not really. I mean, maybe in the castle,
Oh, you have a castle?
the the
Did we see a
big one
castle?
at the top of the mountain that the seven clans united under the banner of the queen to construct as a gift to her and welcoming her for saving us from the black dragon that ruled these lands 12 generations back.
Ah, that. Oh, that does sound like it would be a lovely thing to see, if we have the time.
You should have been able to see it when you were, coming up the road.
Yes, but I meant up more up close.
Oh, you want a tour of the castle? I mean, maybe, but
It's
a
just,
bunch of nobles are getting kind of hoity-toity up there right now because they have to go and touch the stone.
Yeah, the problem is, Buttons, that's where the queen lives.
that is.
That's kind of her home.
I mean, the cat's not wrong.
Yes, but have you ever been in a castle
Right.
before?
Aren't we supposed to not be bothering people from work? Didn't someone say that?
Let's go get a drink at the Plan Heart. And we'll talk
That's what
about
Sabrina
breaking
said to do. We should do that.
Yes, let's just go get a drink. But they
So-
do have.
So you have two options. You could either try to swear fealty to the queen as part of the Amber Gardens.
Well, for that matter, so Buttons isn't. Again, this is player not remembering the specifics of some of the setting details. I remember the stone shtick. Was that all nobles, or was that representatives of noble families?
That is any noble that is in direct um
Service?
proprietorship of a region.
Ah, right. So that would be. Oh God. So Buttons' parents are here.
Yes. Or they will be within the next 3 weeks.
Well, there you go.
Okay, but Buttons herself is not expected to.
Not
Well-
until she takes a leadership role.
So you
Right.
could, fake it, or you could sneak in.
I mean, if you want to see the stone, we can take you to the stone. It's not up at the in the castle.
I've I think I'm quite all right with that.
I mean, it's not active right now, so
Well,
yeah, the vents haven't
What?
opened.
are they supposed to have opened yet or no?
Not yet, no.
Okay, that's not any idea.
Yeah, it only works certain times of the year, so you have to wait for the vents to open, and then it'll start working.
I have.
What's its
sort of
job?
Uh,
It's Button just kind of like starts to answer and then stops herself.
the dwarf just kind of shrugs a little. It's like, all I know is the vents open, the stone starts doing like a little sparkly thing, and then all the nobles have to put their by the Silver Guardian.
Well,
Too much of this?
Oh, it's
Oh, I
saying,
guess it was a short break. Never mind.
it's saying like we're still live to me. I
So
mean,
I've
we've
here.
dropped 10,976 frames. Right, 11,299.
I think it was just pausing for me to switch to commercial, and that's why it froze.
Possibly. I mean, we've
So
lost
never mind.
we've had some drops. I haven't been able to figure out what's causing that, and my messages to Spectrum being like, "Hey, why is our upload rate dropping off?" have been not responded to. But that's why I'm recording this.
right. So yeah, when the dwarf gives a kind of vague answer like that, Buttons immediately breaks into a way too technical explanation of how the stone works, what the details of the oaths are, and just like it's pure tech language.
this region is very quickly starting to smell like hot seawater.
We should go.
But don't you see the most important part is the
Let's walk and talk.
the
Yeah,
spiritual
you
entanglement.
can keep talking. We just need to.
Right. No. Let's go have a drink.
As y'all enter the clan heart, you get the impression that the area is regarded as like a central gathering hub for the clan members, that it has a kind of auditorium lecture hall feel to it. There are a number of kind of tunnels that lead off of it into other locations, but there's also dwarves that seem to have set up small stalls around the massive platform in the center and are selling goods or food or drink or other stuff.
Yeah, so I'll go up and look for just some, basically like a small snack, and a glass of something.
You're
That's
not looking
cool.
for anything particular, though?
No.
Alright,
Just
one second.
browsing, and if something looks good,
Okay.
I'll snag it.
Go ahead and roll me a d4, please.
1.
1. Okay. As y'all are walking around, you catch this incredibly robust scent of it has this almost indescribable, not quite salty, not quite sweet, like that hot sauce that has just been made, a touch of vinegar with a little bit of molasses and some salt to balance it out scent coming from one of the stalls nearby that just pulls your attention. The dwarf behind the stall looks up at you. She is wearing just like a shawl draped across her upper body to combat the heat. Her hair tied back with a complicated set of braids that has the clan mark not tattooed on her, but instead hanging off of the braided is instead painted on a piece of cloth hanging off of her braided hair. She looks, hello, hungry? And she gestures to the stall in front of her where on a hot plate, you can't quite identify it. It's not quite gray. It's not quite brown. It's like, it looks something like beef with the texture of chicken is frying on a open metal pan that has just been soaked in this kind of thin, almost oil-like gravy. And she gives word as she gestures to it.
Acted. She's looking around in the flutes.
Make a perception check.
Only 10.
And do not immediately see any flutes, no. Just the dwarf, says a few words in dwarf. Says, you would like, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, and I'll point at it and that's what I want.
She takes a piece of bread, glides it across the gravy, then slaps it down on top of the meat, takes a very large, very sharp knife, slices the meat, and then folds the bread around it and holds it out to y'all.
Yeah, I'll take it.
It is, she starts searching for the word for it for a second before she holds up a silver coin and then 3 fingers.
So
I'll get out 3 coins for it. Get some food while we're here.
Pushes it off to where she had been cutting meat from and puts down 2 new slabs and just smothers it in whatever this cooking oil is.
Same here.
She takes the coin and gives the food, says whatever that dwarvish word is that Kala is fairly sure means thank you, enjoy.
I don't suppose you have could do a salad?
She just stares blankly at Buttons.
Celery sticks?
Kala rustles a couple leaves and like puts them next to each other and then like mimes her fork at it.
A look of inspiration hits her as she points at a stall.
Ah. Bunch is gonna go in thanks and head for that stall.
All right. There is a very herbal as you approach that stall with a kind of rosemary and sage coming from a large pot over a cooking fire that has this kind of orange color liquid bubbling in it. Dwarf looks up. Oh, yes.
Ah, good. You speak common.
A little bit.
I was recommended by the, down the way, might you have, vegetarian food options?
It'll be, has a very, like, barley and sage scent to it.
Buttons will thank him in return to everybody else.
And Kala's already digging in with her little sharp mermaid or fish-looking teeth.
Like, just tearing chunks off of it. Buttons, you take a sip. You take a sip. You take a sip, and it is a roast barley, pumpkin soup.
That really sounds good. I'm hungry. Okay. But Buttons will happily tuck into that.
Like, it has little bits of barley in it that have been ground down, so it's literally just sippable. You occasionally have to chew, but not terribly chunky.
That now. It's for later in the year.
Yep.
Is there a stall that is serving Glassbreaker Brewery beer?
You look around, and there are a few stalls that definitely are selling alcohol. You don't really know if they are selling stuff that is brewed here or not, just from a look. But you do notice that several of the dwarves that don't seem to have prominently displayed clan markings, like the ones that have it tattooed on their wrists, their face, or their neck, have a piece of cloth with the clan marking braided into their beard or hair.
Yeah. Okay. So any of those could potentially be serving
Possibly, yes.
that brand. Okay.
You're not
Well,
quite
I'll just approach.
Go ahead. Make me a D6 roll, please.
D6. Ones are the name of the game right now. One.
1?
Yep.
Alrighty. You approach the stall. A kind of low, rumbly voice dwarf looks up at. Yes. Can I help you?
I'm looking for some here.
I mean, you could just walk across the way to get some, but yeah, I got some. Do you have a cup or?
Actually, I think I do just because of my Outlander stuff. Let me look at my equipment stuff. I felt like I did. Let me look. Oh yeah, I have a mess kit, so I do. I have my own cup. I'll hand it.
He takes it and it's like, all right, so just fill this then. That'll be 4 copper.
No problem.
Takes the copper each.
And I'll give him a silver piece. I enjoy supporting local business.
The family thanks you. As he kind of like it, and a kind of ambery red liquid flows from it into the cup. So here you go.
Thank you so much.
Hope you enjoy it.
And I'll take a sip, and then I'll hold it out to my other team members here to if anybody wants to try it.
All right, it has a very syrupy thickness to it, with a not acrid, but a kind of red and honey taste to it.
Mm-hmm. The ears flutter again with the honey stuff. She likes it.
They imported it from the forest. They boiled it down for 2 days. I had to scrape the heck out of the boiler to get the residue out.
It's delicious. Anybody else want some? It's on me.
I guess I'll have
I
some.
don't suppose it would cause any harm.
I mean, neither of us sweat buttons, so take that into consideration.
Googling, do rabbits sweat?
They sweat through their nose and the pads of their paws.
Has-
Do not ask why I looked this up.
Oh, apparently they can't pant either.
Nope.
Oh, maybe we gotta give Buttons a poodle cut.
Oh, do it.
Oh dear.
I would have so much fun with that.
Dear. Alright. Let's say she's got air
I'll-
conditioning built into her armor.
Well, I was gonna say if this is portable stuff, we could just how long would it take us to walk like outside to enjoy our snacks?
It took
That's
y'all
legal
about
here?
40 minutes and a lift ride to get down here. So it will probably
That's true. That's true. I forgot about the lift.
Okay.
But I think we're going to go ahead and call it at that. We went a little over time, but we started a little late.
Okay.
That's on me. Real quick, before the end of it, does anyone want to earn any inspiration by calling out excellent roleplay today?
Liked Kala writing down the dwarven stuff. Kind of forgot that she was an anthropologist.
I don't need an inspiration for it, but I think Sabrina's been like just kind of slid into a leadership role.
Yeah.
And taken charge, and I that's really neat. Very cool.
And I feel like when it was like Buttons doing a lot of the negotiation and stuff in the Feywild, then we switched to Kala for traveling, and now we're on Zafrina. So I feel like we're doing a kind of pretty good rotation for our own spheres.
Yeah, but then like, Bert, what do you think we Bert? Bert, where did he go?
Yeah.
It's the rogue for you.
I have a feeling when we get to the ship city, if that's a thing that we end up dealing with, that'll be a Bert cycle. And I have a feeling if we do any Oath Day kind of stuff, that'll be a Buttons cycle. And then if we probably deal with any of the seed druids, that would probably be both Sabrina and Kala for that kind of cycle. So I feel like we kind of are starting to find our spheres.
Yeah.
Well, wherever
I
we
mean,
go.
like at.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say. I mean, at this, I think it makes sense because it's Zephrina's kind of mission, and you guys have agreed to come along. So her, like I said, her mindset is just to press forward to get that done, so that her mentality is to work hard, play hard, and she can't play hard again until the job is completed. So
Right. Well,
don't expect her to be the responsible one all the time.
I would hope not. Well, I had a lot of fun. I hope y'all did too. Sorry my allergies were so rough at the very beginning. If you can't tell, I took an allergy pill at the break, and now I'm getting a little like blip, blip, blip buzz. But I had a lot of fun. I hope y'all did too. I'm going to have to try and figure out how to get a halfling a day ahead of y'all now. But that's fine. I have ideas.
Oh dear.
I have
It's
ideas.
really weird. I pissed off a wizard and now I'm here.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
literally
if we're kind of if we've got our snacks and things, I would say like to leave it for the next time. Zephyrina would sit down because you said it's kind of built like an auditorium, so she'll
Yeah.
just kind of sit down with her snacks and then pull out her little schwam to play some music to kill the time until.
we'll definitely cover some portions of that after I get Vensner shoehorned back into the party the next session. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. I hope y'all have enjoyed the game. Sorry, we've had a few connection issues, it looks like. Something in the neighborhood of 20,000 frame drops. I think we've lost connection at least twice. I don't know what's going on, but I know I'm having fun running this game. Welcome to the Dwarven Ward, the Dwarven Quarter Blastbreaker Ward. And hey, y'all got some lore today too. Good job. I was not expecting y'all to get any lore out of me.
Wahahaha.
Alright, so I got the in thing up. Meryl, say the line.
All right, folks. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And please, always make like a polite werewolf. Like and subscribe.
Follow us on Twitter at bonusroll. Elon Musk does not own it yet, and so we are continuing to use it.
Yay!
We may still use it even if Elon Musk buys it.
We'll see.